Chapter 621 Blood Lizard Heart. Before Su Zimo could say anything, Chu Xichao beside him had already shouted, "Are you crazy? That old box, no one even knows what's in it, and you want a blood lizard's heart for it? This place is a total scam." The middle-aged man didn't respond. After saying his piece, he fell silent again. "What's a blood lizard's heart?" Su Zimo asked with confusion. Even though he had learned quite a bit about this world, much of it was still surface level, and there were many things he didn't understand. A blood lizard's heart is, well, it's the heart of some kind of creature, Chu Xichao said, his voice growing weaker the more he spoke. "That answer is as good as saying nothing," Su Zimo replied flatly. "Come on, you and I are pretty much on the same level. If you don't know, how would I know?" Chu Xichao said awkwardly with a laugh. "So you don't even know what a blood lizard is? And you're yelling like that?" Su Zimo shook his head, speechless. "I was just trying to liven things up a bit," Chu Xichao said with a sheepish grin. Su Zimo turned to Jiang Chongqing, who also shook his head slightly and said, "I've heard the name before, but I don't know much about it." Just then, the woman named Chu Shanhe suddenly spoke. "In the misty forest of the southern region, there's a swamp. That's where the lizard folk live. The blood lizard is one type of rare lizard that lives there." "A rare lizard?" Su Zimo asked, puzzled. "Let me explain how hard it is to even get a blood lizard's heart," Chu Shanhe said coolly. "The misty forest is a well-known danger zone in the southern region, and the swamp is even more treacherous. Nothing but lizards can survive there. There are 4 main types of lizards: green, blue, red, and yellow." "What's that got to do with the blood lizard?" Chu Xichao asked, also curious. "The blood lizard isn't its own species," Chu Shanhe said. "It's a fusion of the 4 types. The technique to create it is extremely rare and precious. Blood lizards are basically extinct now. Creating one takes enormous effort. Their hearts are full of powerful properties." "How do you know all this?" Su Zimo asked. "Do you have a way to get one?" "I once wanted to get one myself," Chu Shanhe answered calmly. "But after learning the full story, I gave up. That said, if you really want the fusion method, it's not entirely impossible." "What do you mean?" Su Zimo asked. "It's said that the World Sovereign Empyrean sect once obtained the fusion method back when the World Sovereign was still young. Whether they still have it now, I don't know," Chu Shanhe explained. "Even if they have it, they won't give it to you easily." "You telling me all this? Do you want something in return?" Su Zimo asked with a half-smile. "Yes," Chu Shanhe replied bluntly. "If you get the method, I want 1 blood lizard in exchange. A fair trade." While they were talking, a young man suddenly burst into the shop. He was dressed in black armor, covered in blood, and his armor was damaged in several places. "Shopkeeper, I've completed the mission. Give me my merit points," he said loudly, tossing a bag onto the counter. The bag opened to reveal a fresh red organ covered in purple veins, a blood gall. The middle-aged man checked it over, nodded, and handed the youth a golden token. "I have enough merit points now. I want to exchange them for the northern ice," the armored youth said. The middle-aged man moved quickly. He took the token, waved his hand, and one of the glass pillars in the center shattered with a bang. A transparent box dropped out. Inside, Su Zimo saw a block of ice. The armored youth gratefully took the box and turned to leave the shop. Just as he reached the door, a group of people blocked his way. They looked like servants, all except for one young man in luxurious robes who looked slightly overweight and held a fan. He walked over arrogantly and said to the armored youth, "Su Yan, hand over the northern ice and I'll let you walk away." Su Yan's expression darkened as he said coldly, "Zhang Ziho, don't push it. I worked over a year to earn that ice. It's for my mother's treatment." Zhang Ziho laughed loudly and said arrogantly, "Go ask around Bright Flame City. You'll find no one dares defy me." "You're just relying on your father being the city lord," Su Yan sneered. "Enough talk. Beat him," Zhang Ziho ordered, waving his hand. His followers immediately swarmed Su Yan. Looks like the cities under your nine heavens sect's rule aren't so great, Chushan has said nearby. They can't even manage their own internal fights, let alone govern cities. Chu Zichao added with a mocking laugh. Brother, should I do something? Jiang Chongqing asked Su Zimo. Up to you. I don't really care, Su Zimo replied calmly. He continued looking around the shop. Even though he couldn't get the wooden box yet, many other items were just as rare and caught his eye. Eventually, he saw a curved bow. It was over a meter long, jet black, with a golden string, likely made from the tendon of some beast. The tag simply read, Heaven Demon Bow. It was just the bow, no arrows. Outside the shop, the fight had broken out. Although Su Yan was experienced in combat, he was quickly overwhelmed and beaten to the ground. Zhang Ziho took the box with the northern ice and sneered. Su Yan, I'll spare your life. If your sister agrees to marry me, I'll consider dropping the issue. Don't make me force the matter. Seeing this, Jiang Chongqing stepped forward and frowned. Who are you people, acting so lawlessly in Bright Flame City? Chapter 622 My father is Zhang Er. When Jiang Chongqing spoke, Zhang Ziho laughed lightly, dismissively saying, What, kid? Are you trying to play the hero? This is Bright Flame City, under the jurisdiction of Nine Heavens Imperial Sect. You think you can just act however you want? Jiang Chongqing replied with a frown. So you're not from this city, huh? No wonder you don't recognize me. Zhang Ziho shook his head and said, Listen up. My father is Zhang Er, the current city lord of Bright Flame City. So what if he's the city lord? He was appointed by the Nine Heavens sect to manage the city. It doesn't belong to him, Jiang Chongqing said calmly. And who are you? Zhang Ziho sized up Jiang Chongqing. Usually, when he revealed his background, others would either apologize or back off. Nine Heavens sect inner disciple, Jiang Chongqing. Jiang Chongqing replied plainly. An inner disciple of the imperial sect? Zhang Ziho looked surprised for a moment, but quickly forced a smile. He smiled at Jiang Chongqing and said, Ah, so it's Brother Jiang. A pleasure to meet you. Sorry for not treating you better. I've reserved a table at Bright Moon Restaurant. Would you honor me by joining? Cut the crap. Why did you steal from him? Jiang Chongqing waved his hand and pressed. Zhang Ziho narrowed his eyes and smiled slightly. Brother Jiang, let me remind you, this is Bright Flame City, not the Nine Heavens sect. Just because you're an inner disciple doesn't mean your words hold weight here. Let's not make a big deal. Just let this go. I'm going to report this to the sect, Jiang Chongqing said flatly. Now return what you took and apologize. You think too highly of yourself? Zhang Ziho snapped. Then he waved his hand and ordered, Teach him a lesson. As his servants rushed forward, Jiang Chongqing let out a cold snort. He was at the peak of the celestial image realm, nearly breaking into the world paragon realm. These lackeys weren't even close to his match. He released a burst of spirit force and used his fierce tiger fist to knock several servants to the ground. Then he grabbed Zhang Ziho by the throat and said coldly, Apologize. Sorry? Zhang Ziho stammered, trembling all over. You're just a spoiled second-gen brat hiding behind your dad. Jiang Chongqing scoffed. He picked up the northern icebox, handed it to Su Yan, and said, Here, take this. Thank you. Thank you so much. Su Yan took it gratefully. No problem. Go treat your mother, Jiang Chongqing replied, waving him off. Then he tossed Zhang Ziho aside and snapped, Get lost. If this weren't Bright Flame City, I'd kill you right now. Zhang Ziho nodded frantically and left the shop with his group. Boss, how much for the Heaven Demon Bow? Su Zimo asked. Heaven Demon Bow, a relic from the ancient God-demon battlefield. Extremely powerful, but only usable by demon races. That's a major limitation. 1 merit points or a fusion heaven-level weapon can be exchanged, the puppet shopkeeper said flatly, flipping through his book. A fusion heaven-level weapon? Su Zimo glanced at Jiang Chongqing. His past self was dirt poor, not to mention high-level weapons. He didn't even have a decent one. and his cultivation had been too weak to even use them properly. "Don't look at me. I'm poorer than you," Jiang Chongqing quickly said. "At least you've got a mountain lord as a dad. I've got nobody." Su Zimo turned back to the shopkeeper and asked, "Do you have any tasks that can earn 100 points at once?" "There are two," the puppet replied while flipping through his book. "First, hunt down the twin-faced duo from the northern region's Royal Empyrean sect. Reward is 100 merit points. Second, travel to Blue Moon Pool, 10 miles away, and slay the green flood dragon to collect its spine. Also 100 points. Hearing this, Chu Xichao chimed in. "Forget about the twin-faced duo. They're strong and impossible to track. As for the flood dragon, unless your Nine Heavens Sect's patriarch comes out of seclusion, there's no chance. Let's go take a look at Blue Moon Pool," Su Zimo said to Jiang Chongqing. "Just the two of us?" Jiang Chongqing blinked. "You serious? That's suicide." "I said look, not fight. What are you scared of?" Su Zimo replied calmly. "Fine. Just look." Jiang Chongqing nodded helplessly. "I'd still advise you not to go. That kind of creature isn't something you guys can handle," Chu Shanhe said from the side. Su Zimo smiled and was about to leave with Jiang Chongqing when the sound of footsteps came from outside. A group of soldiers surrounded the shop, and Zhang Ziho swaggered in, this time with two others. One was a middle-aged man in black with a short beard and short hair. His muscles bulged, and his chest was exposed through his robe. He looked fierce and commanding. The other was an old man, more subdued, with a presence so restrained that it was easy to overlook him entirely. "Father, he's the one who said he'd kill me." Zhang Ziho pointed at Jiang Chongqing and complained. The middle-aged man stepped forward and nodded slightly. Looking at Jiang Chongqing, he said, "I'm Zhang Er. Which of you are disciples of the Nine Heavens sect?" "We all are." "What's the problem?" Su Zimo asked with a frown. "I just want to ask, what did my son do to offend you? You threatened to kill him." "I think you owe me an explanation," Zhang Er said calmly. "He threw your name around to act like a tyrant in this city. Bright Flame may be under your management, but it belongs to the Nine Heavens sect, not your family," Jiang Chongqing replied. "We're disciples of the sect. We have a duty to keep things in order. You got a problem with that? If you want to uphold justice, I don't mind. But this can't be judged by your side alone. Come with me to the city lord's mansion and explain it properly," Zhang Er said, waving his hand. Soldiers poured into the shop. "Be careful. Don't touch anything," Zhang Er quickly warned them. This shop, known as the #1 shop under heaven, had a mysterious background. If anything broke, they'd have to pay an equal price. Even Zhang Er didn't dare act recklessly here. Thankfully, the shopkeeper was just a puppet and wouldn't interfere unless something was damaged. Jiang Chongqing frowned and was about to strike, but Su Zimo stopped him. Chapter 623. Can any of you withstand one punch? My father is the mountain lord of Grand Heaven Mountain. Are you sure you want to fight me? Su Zimo looked at Zhang Er and asked. You're Lin Qiu, young Master Lin? Zhang Er instantly realized. Then he smiled and said, Your brother is actually a guest at my residence right now. Looks like this is a misunderstanding between allies. He's him. I'm me. Still want to fight? Su Zimo asked again. No need for that. We're all from the same sect. Nothing that can't be talked out. Zhang Er laughed. Then he turned to Zhang Ziho and said, Ziho, greet your senior brother Lin. Greetings, senior brother Lin, Zhang Ziho said politely, cupping his fists. Seeing Su Zimo's cold attitude, Zhang Er smiled again and said, Then I won't bother you anymore, young Master Lin. You're always welcome at my mansion. As Zhang Ziho and his group left, Jiang Chongqing snorted coldly. Bullies who fear the strong, he said. That man is deep and calculating. Honestly, I kind of wish he'd actually fought. Su Zimo shook his head. After saying goodbye to Chu Shanhe and her brother, Su Zimo and Jiang Chongqing headed for Blue Moon Pool. Meanwhile, after leaving, Zhang Ziho looked unhappy and asked, Father, why are you afraid of him? He's just some useless rich kid. We're not even part of Grand Heaven Mountain. What can he do to us? You don't get it, Zhang Er said, eyes thoughtful. Even if you join Nine Heavens sect and become part of Jade Heaven Mountain, power struggles among the higher-ups are complicated. There's no need to create enemies for nothing. Then he looked at the old man beside him and asked, Elder Qing, what do you think? You've peaked. Being City Lord of Bright Moon is already your limit. Enjoy your current life. Don't push too hard, the old man replied calmly. Blue Moon Pool lay 10 miles outside Bright Moon City. It was the only dangerous place in the area. Rumor had it that a 1,000-year-old green flood dragon lived here. It used to attack travelers centuries ago, but had been quiet in recent years. Su Zimo and Jiang Chongqing walked for half a day to reach it. They found it nestled in a small forest, with trees growing tightly around the pool. It was early summer, so the forest was lush and full of life. The area was eerily quiet, not a single bird in sight. Only the blazing sun overhead broke the silence. Senior brother, let's just go. There's nothing to see here, Jiang Chongqing said. What are you so scared of? Don't be a coward, Su Zimo replied. I'm not a coward. I'm cautious, Jiang Chongqing argued. You know why my name is Chongqing? Because I want to fulfill my grandfather's wish and live a long life. You'll be fine if you stick with me, Su Zimo said, walking into the forest. Inside, it was cooler and calmer. Not long after, they heard water flowing nearby. They followed the sound and soon found a pool about several dozen square meters in size, filled with clear, greenish water. Smooth pebbles lined the bottom. In the middle of the pool stood a large tree, thick, tall, and very old. Go to the edge and yell. Let's see if the dragon comes out, Su Zimo said. I thought we were just looking. Why call it out? Jiang Chongqing asked, panicking. Su Zimo smiled, picked up a big rock, and threw it into the water. With a loud bang, water splashed everywhere. But the surface quickly calmed again, no movement at all. Maybe it's gone? Jiang Chongqing said, puzzled. Or maybe it's just ignoring us, Su Zimo replied. Then he picked up another rock and threw it at the giant tree in the center. Before the rock could hit the tree, it was smashed midair by a tail. Suddenly, a deafening roar echoed from the bottom of the pool, and the water erupted skyward like an explosion, spraying hundreds of feet high. We're screwed, Jiang Chongqing yelled, trying to run. But the water split into sharp arrows shooting at him. He had no choice but to dodge and defend. Su Zimo looked up. A massive creature had emerged from the pool. It was a real flood dragon, nearly 100 meters long. Its tail was bare, and its scales were deep green, lined up like armor. Most terrifying of all, it had 2 heads. Its mouths were narrow and sharp, with hair running from its necks to its heads. Both heads had cold, piercing eyes and roared, spitting thunder and wind. Humans, are you looking to die? The dragon said in a cold voice. Senior brother, you've killed us? Jiang Chongqing muttered in despair. Chongsheng, Su Zimo said calmly, eyes locked on the dragon. Do you remember what you told me when we left the mountain? Jiang Chongqing looked at him, his calm, unshaken posture in front of the dragon. Something felt different about Su Zimo, but he couldn't say what. What did I say? Jiang Chongqing stammered. Let me remind you, Su Zimo replied softly. Life is like a play. Don't believe everything your eyes see. What do you mean? Jiang Chongqing asked in confusion. Right then, a powerful aura erupted from Su Zimo's body. Before Jiang Chongqing could react, Su Zimo shot into the sky at a speed too fast for the eye to follow. Next moment, the massive dragon was slammed down from the sky and crashed to the ground with a deafening boom. It sounded like a huge earthquake. The dragon let out a pained scream as the earth cracked beneath them. Su Zimo grabbed its tail and began to spin it in a full circle. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions echoed as the dragon was repeatedly slammed into the ground. By the time Jiang Chongqing recovered from the shock, Su Zimo had already pinned the dragon by its neck. No matter how it struggled, it couldn't escape. Say, senior brother, Jiang Chongqing stuttered, eyes wide in disbelief. In the 4 regions of the Eternal Lands, there are countless so-called geniuses, Su Zimo said. I ask them all, can any of you withstand one punch from me? With that, he brought his fist down like a hammer, smashing it into the dragon's head with unstoppable force.
Chapter 624, The Man và Tiger.
With that punch, the surrounding space shattered completely. Greenish-blue blood sprayed several meters into the air. The ground below cracked in all directions like a spider web. Jiang Chongqing looked over and saw the flood dragon lying there, its body torn and bloody. Its armored head was split open, flesh ripped apart. Senior brother, that's a fusion heaven-level beast, Jiang Chongqing said, trembling. Isn't it already dead? Su Zimo replied calmly. You've still got a lot to learn, Chongqing. Senior brother, you've been hiding your strength all along. Jiang Chongqing looked at Su Zimo in awe. You're the one who said not to judge things by appearances, Su Zimo said, shaking his head. Lend me your sword. He took Jiang Chongqing's sword and began cutting into the flood dragon. The dragon's backbone, also called the wisdom bone, was located near the back of its head and was the most valuable part. Senior brother, the blood of a fusion heaven-level beast is incredibly precious. Don't waste it, Jiang Chongqing said, hurriedly collecting the blood. If you want it, take it, Su Zimo replied. Just as he was removing the wisdom bone, footsteps echoed from nearby. Su Zimo frowned slightly. This area around Blue Moon Pool was usually deserted. People wouldn't be wandering here unless, like them, they were specifically hunting the dragon. He looked up and saw 2 people approaching, 1 man and 1 young woman. As they got closer, he saw the man was dressed in a gray-white robe, with black hair streaked with white at the temples. He had a refined look, with neatly tied hair and a silver sword at his waist. The young woman looked about Su Zimo's age. She wore a blue dress, elegant and slim-waisted, tied with a blue sash. Her slightly wavy hair fell over her left shoulder, bound by a pink ribbon. She had the soft, graceful air of a Jiangnan beauty. Master, someone beat us to it. The girl in blue frowned as she saw Su Zimo. It's fine, the refined man said with a smile, shaking his head. Who are you 2? Jiang Chongqing asked cautiously. We came for the flood dragon. But since it's already dead, perhaps we can make a deal? The refined man asked, smiling. What deal? Su Zimo replied. We'd like the dragon's tendons. Name your price, the man said. Not for sale. I don't lack anything, and you definitely don't have what I want, Su Zimo replied, refusing immediately. Master? The girl in blue frowned, then took out an umbrella from her storage ring. This is a Paragon-level weapon. It has both offensive and defensive modes. It should be more than enough for you. She assumed Jiang Chongqing was a mere meridian cultivator, and Su Zimo didn't even seem to have spirit force. She figured someone else must have killed the dragon, and these 2 were just looting the leftovers. This is useless to me. No deal, Su Zimo said, shaking his head as he continued butchering the dragon. The refined man chuckled and, with a clang, drew his sword from his waist. The sword gleamed as it cut through the air and landed in front of Su Zimo. This dragon's body is tough. Your sword won't cut it. Use mine, the man said with a friendly smile. Su Zimo didn't hesitate. He picked up the sword and started cutting. It sliced like butter, and within moments, Su Zimo had opened the dragon's body. He quickly removed the wisdom bone, the dragon gallbladder, and the tendons. Only the full corpse was left. Jiang Chongqing busily cut meat from it, saying flood dragon meat was extremely nourishing. Su Zimo returned the sword to the man and tossed him the dragon tendon. Just returning the favor, Su Zimo said, then left with Jiang Chongqing. What a strange guy. The girl in blue wrinkled her nose, watching them go. He's interesting, the refined man said, smiling as he looked at the tendon in his hand. Senior brother, with that kind of strength, why keep it hidden? Jiang Chongqing asked on the way back. Ever heard of not showing off your wealth? Su Zimo asked. Oh, then doesn't that mean we've already secured the win at the upcoming Nine Heavens tournament? Jiang Chongqing said excitedly. Think bigger. What's a Nine Heavens tournament? Even the Nine Heavens Empyrean sect itself doesn't impress me, Su Zimo said calmly. Senior brother, don't say things like that. The Empyrean sect has grand Empyreans. Those aren't to be messed with, Jiang Chongqing quickly warned, looking around nervously. Su Zimo just smiled and didn't explain further. They returned to Bright Flame City with the Wisdom Bone. Bright Flame was the largest and most prosperous city in the region. Because of an upcoming auction, the city was even busier than usual. Everyone with any influence was coming to try their luck at the auction. Su Zimo and Jiang Chongqing went straight to the First Eternal Shop. Inside, there were 5 other customers. 2 servants, a middle-aged man, and his son and daughter. Dad, there are so many treasures here, the girl said in amazement. Of course, with a name like First Eternal Shop, how could it not have treasures? The man laughed. Su Zimo walked straight in and placed the wisdom bone on the counter. Check the task merit points, he said. 100 points, the puppet behind the counter replied, handing him a bronze token. Just give me the Heaven Demon Bow. No need for the token, Su Zimo said, waving his hand. The puppet raised his arm, and the transparent display case opened. The Heaven Demon Bow rose up from inside. Dark infernal force swirled around it. As it appeared, whispers of ancient demonic chants echoed faintly. The energy twisted and surged, forming ferocious, man-eating faces in the air. Chapter 625, The Red King. It felt like the bow wanted to devour everything in the shop. Its aura was wild and unruly, as if it acknowledged no one. This demonic bow can only be used by those of the ancient demon race. I'm giving it to you, whether you can control it is up to you, the puppet-like man said calmly. As Su Zimo felt the aura of the bow, his body's hell-suppressing demon physique stirred restlessly. There was a strange sense of familiarity. Come, he said quietly. The Heaven Demon Bow trembled as if it heard his call. It flew straight into Su Zimo's hand. Once he held it, he felt like it had fused with his arm. The bow recognized him as its master and moved with his will. Dark infernal force surged around him. Su Zimo realized the bow was just a vessel. Arrows had to be formed from infernal force. As long as his energy held out, he could create endless arrows. The bow wasn't extremely powerful, likely once used by a powerful demon and later lost here in this shop. Young master, you're really something. For this demonic weapon to recognize you, your strength must have risen again, said the middle-aged man nearby with a smile. Su Zimo gave him a glance and a slight nod. May I ask where you're from? The man asked, then introduced himself first. I am Huang Fuxian, Red King, Huang Fuxian? Before Su Zimo could respond, Jiang Chongqing shouted in surprise. You're the Red King of the world's sovereign Empyrean sect. You can call me Red King, Huang Fuxian smiled, not minding. We're disciples of the Nine Heavens Imperial sect. This is my senior brother, Lin Qiu, Jiang Chongqing quickly introduced. Oh, disciples of Nine Heavens. I was going to say, if you didn't belong to a sect, I would have invited you to join our world's sovereign Empyrean sect, Huang Fuxian said with a hint of regret. You're here for the auction too? Jiang Chongqing asked, curious. Yes, and just to get out and about, Huang Fuxian said, then looked at the young man and woman beside him. How are you? You're all the same age. Get to know each other. He's just an Imperial sect disciple. Why should I associate with someone like that? Huang Fu Hao said, clearly dissatisfied. He was upset that his father praised Su Zimo. No matter what he did, his father was rarely pleased. Yet now, he was admiring a complete stranger. Huang Fuxian frowned slightly and looked at his son. But before he could speak, a man rushed in and whispered something to him. Huang Fuxian's expression turned serious. He told his son and daughter, I need to leave for a day. I'll return in time for the auction. You two settle in the city for now. With that, he turned and left. Su Zimo turned to Jiang Chongsheng and asked curiously, "Who is he? You seem pretty worked up. You don't know the Red King? Senior brother, you really don't keep up with the world," Jiang Chongsheng said with emotion. He's said to be the strongest person under the ancestral elder of the world's sovereign Empyrean sect. Once, he fought 8 fusion heaven-level powerhouses by himself and killed them all. He became famous from that battle. Everyone in the southern region knows him. "Oh," Su Zimo responded calmly. Looking at the heaven demon bow in his hand, he thought, since coming to this world, he hadn't brought Shadow Tyrant, his previous weapon. He hadn't had a good weapon until now. This bow would serve him for a while. He still had his eye on the wooden box atop the central pillar, but he would have to wait until he could get the blood lizard heart. As he was about to leave, Huang Fu Hao stepped forward and blocked his way. "What is it?" Su Zimo frowned. "My father praised you. You must be very strong then," Huang Fu Hao said coldly. "If you've got something to say, spit it out. Don't waste my time," Su Zimo said impatiently. Huang Fu Hao's face darkened. "I want to fight you." Loser cuts off a hand. "Do you dare?" "Fuck off. Don't block my view," Su Zimo replied flatly. "There's no reason to fight someone as weak as you. You're looking to die." Huang Fu Hao snapped. His aura flared, he was at the early world Paragon realm, and his meridian gates were opening one by one. He punched at Su Zimo, flames burning around his fist. Su Zimo casually raised the heaven demon bow. The black bowstring alone sent Huang Fu Hao flying backward. "You really want to be the first offering for my bow?" Su Zimo said coldly. He began to draw the bow. Infernal force flowed from his arms as a jet-black arrow began to form, with golden streaks through it. The arrowhead was triangular and sharp, glowing with a cold light. Infernal force swirled fiercely. Su Zimo loosed the arrow. It shot forward faster than the eye could follow, cutting through the air and space itself. Scarlet Sun Barrier. Huang Fu Hao panicked. He stood up and stretched out both arms, summoning a golden barrier before him. The barrier rippled with spatial power, forming a self-contained realm. The demonic arrow struck the barrier and seemed to vanish into it. Huang Fu Hao sighed in relief, only to hear a loud boom. The space twisted violently. The arrow broke through the barrier, pierced through layers of space, and reappeared in front of him. "Ah!" he screamed. The arrow shot through his chest and pinned him to the wall of the shop. Blood poured from his wound as he struggled in agony. "Not bad." Su Zimo looked at the bow satisfied. He turned to Jiang Chongsheng and said, "Let's go." The two left the shop. Struggling, Huang Fu Hao turned to the girl beside him. "Sister, help me." The girl, Huang Fu Xianyue, finally looked up for the first time. No one noticed, but her eyes gleamed like radiant moonlight, breathtakingly beautiful and sharp. "That arrow was strong," she said with a soft smile. She walked over and touched the arrow that had pinned her brother to the wall. Then all the infernal force vanished, absorbed directly into her body. "Sister, are you satisfied now?" Huang Fu Hao asked fearfully. If father could praise him, he's obviously capable. That wasn't his full power, not something a single arrow could reveal, Huang Fu Xianyue said calmly. "Too bad you're so weak. You couldn't even make him go all out." "Yes, yes." Huang Fu Hao lowered his head, not daring to argue. Chapter 626. The Auction. After leaving the first Eternal Shop, Su Zimo returned to the inn where he was staying. By now, night was beginning to fall. When Su Zimo and Jiang Chongxing got back, the others were sitting on the first floor of the inn having dinner. It was fairly quiet downstairs, with only a few scattered guests at different tables. "Brother, where did you guys go today?" Lin Feng asked with a smile when he saw Su Zimo. "Just walked around Bright Flame City a bit," Su Zimo replied. "Did you ask about the auction?" Lin Feng continued. "What good stuff could there even be at the auction?" Su Zimo said with a smile and shook his head. "Besides, you don't even have any spirit crystals. The auction has nothing to do with you," Lin Feng said, shaking his head, unwilling to explain further. "Yi Xian, sitting nearby, thought for a moment and said, "This auction is being held by the Wan Clan Merchant Guild. Said they've been preparing for 3 years. So the scale is going to be huge, and there will be all kinds of items available." She explained patiently, "Because everyone has limited funds, they can't bid on everything. So before the auction starts, people try to gather information to see what will be sold. That way, if they spot something they want, they'll save their money to bid on it." "And did you find out anything?" Su Zimo asked with interest. "Nothing yet, other than the 3 main items the auction announced. Everything else is being kept a secret," Yi Xian replied. "3 main items? What are they?" Su Zimo asked. "A heart of Thunderflame, an Ionic body-shaping pill, and a relic from a Grand Empyrean," Lin Feng quickly answered. "Why are you so curious, little brother? These are things even I don't dare dream about. The things you don't dare to dream of, I will. And the things you don't dare to do, I will do. Don't compare me to you," Su Zimo said calmly while pouring himself a drink. Hearing that, Lin Feng's face turned a bit cold. He put down his chopsticks and said stiffly, "I'm full. I'll head back to rest." He left with a flick of his sleeve, and Murong Yener quickly followed him. Seeing this, Yi Kai glanced at Yi Xian with a smirk and stood up. "I can't hold my liquor. You all enjoy yourselves. You really know how to make your brother mad," Yi Xian said with a blush, clearly blaming Su Zimo. "He's the heir of Grand Heaven Mountain and may be the next mountain lord. No matter what, you're still his younger brother. It's good to keep the peace." "You don't get it." Su Zimo shook his head, sipping his wine. "There will come a day when I fight him. I just don't care right now. Let the grasshopper jump around a while longer." "Such big talk. What are you going to fight him with?" Yi Xian rolled her eyes at him. Then she pulled out a storage ring and handed it over. "What's this?" Su Zimo looked at the ring and asked. "There are the spirit crystals I've saved up over the years. Take them and buy some decent defensive gear at the auction tomorrow," she explained. "You're about to compete in the 9 Heavens Grand Gathering. You need some protection." "I thought when you took out the ring you were going to confess to me," Su Zimo joked. "You're never serious," Yi Xian said, flustered. She placed the ring on the table and quickly ran upstairs. Watching her flee in embarrassment, Su Zimo laughed heartily behind her. "A rare hero's courage, but hardest to bear is a beauty's favor," he said, shaking his head while looking at the storage ring. The night slowly devoured the land like a beast. The moon and stars hid behind thick clouds. As dawn approached, the sky brightened. A purple sun rose from the east, casting light over all of Bright Flame City. Flames atop the city walls burned steadily. For the residents of Bright Flame City, this was the most exciting day of the year. The Wan Clan's auction was about to begin. By early morning, small groups of people were already moving through the streets. The auction was being held in the city's largest building, the Ancient Tower. The Wan Clan had purchased and built this pavilion specifically for auctions. This type of ancient tower wasn't unique to Bright Flame City. The Wan Clan's auctions were spread across the entire continent, so they had branches everywhere. As sunlight lit the city, the streets grew lively. Su Zimo and his group were having breakfast at the inn. "The auction starts in an hour. No rush," Lin Feng said coldly. It seemed that after last night's events, his attitude had turned frosty. He didn't even bother pretending anymore. "We from 9 Heavens Imperial Sect received an invitation in advance, so we'll have a private booth." After breakfast, the group followed the growing crowd toward the ancient tower. Although the tower was massive, there were too many people trying to attend. Not everyone qualified to enter. First, the ancient tower only sent invitations to the 2 great Empyrean sects and 5 major imperial sects of the southern region. These sects had private booths on the 2nd floor. In short, anyone on the 2nd floor had status and influence. Everyone else was placed on the 1st floor. There were no private rooms on the 1st floor. It was like a conference hall, with rows of chairs lined up around the auction platform. Even getting a seat on the 1st floor required proof of financial strength, to show you could actually bid on something. This policy cut out many of the freeloaders who only wanted to watch the excitement. The streets leading to the pavilion were packed with people. By the time Su Zimo and the others arrived, half the seats had already been filled. "Young Master Lin, please come in," greeted a man in a green robe with a mustache shaped like 2 commas. He walked gracefully, his manner oddly delicate. He gave off one strong impression. Feminine. Overly feminine. Even his fingers curled like flower petals. "Manager Wan." Lin Feng greeted him with a polite smile. "I've been waiting for you. Only your Grand Heaven Mountain and Jade Heaven Mountain came from 9 Heavens Imperial Sect this time," said the man called Manager Wan, smiling. "Your private room is ready. Please follow me." As they followed him, Su Zimo glanced around and took in the layout of the ancient tower. Chapter 627, The Bidding War. The first floor of the ancient tower was very spacious, taking up almost a third of the street. At the center stood a circular platform. Around this platform, countless chairs were arranged. The deep red columns on both sides were carved with lifelike golden dragons. Various famous paintings hung on the side walls, landscapes full of trees and deep forests. Dozens of fragrant flowers decorated the hall, filling it with their scent. Looking up, the pavilion had 3 levels. The third floor was private, used only by the Wan clan and not open to the public. Along the dragon-carved columns was a staircase that led up to the second floor, which had many private booths. Each room had names based on natural themes: wind, rain, thunder, lightning, plum blossom, orchid, bamboo, chrysanthemum, and so on. Su Zimo looked around. There were probably several dozen rooms in total. Following Manager Wan, the group was led to the booth named Bamboo. The room wasn't very large. It had a wooden table with a plate of fruit on it. Around the room were a few cushioned chairs made of cloth. Near the corridor side was a window meant for viewing the auction downstairs. The lighting was soft, and there was a faint fragrance in the air. "Young Master Lin and everyone, this will be your booth. If you need anything, just call me," Manager Wan said with a smile. "Thank you, Manager Wan." Lin Feng nodded slightly. After Wan left, Lin Feng turned to Su Zimo and said, "I brought spirit crystals from the sect to buy a sky lotus flower. Father said I could give you 1 million spirit crystals to buy whatever you need." "Got it," Su Zimo nodded. As time passed, the seats on the first floor filled up. More and more big names were arriving on the second floor too. Among them were the Scarlet King Huoxian, the refined man and purple-dressed girl Su Zimo had met earlier when fighting the Green Flood Dragon. He still didn't know who they were, and frankly didn't care to find out. As for spirit crystals, Su Zimo had plenty stored in his god world. When he destroyed heaven-severing sacred ground and other powers, he had collected billions of spirit crystals. His storage rings couldn't hold them all, so he just dumped them in his inner world. He rarely needed to use them, so he had never paid much attention. Once everyone had arrived, sounds of clanking echoed from the platform. Something slowly rose from within the platform. An old man in a red robe walked out from the side. He looked energetic and full of life. His voice echoed through the hall. "I am Wan Xuan. Those who often attend our Wan clan's auctions should recognize me. Let me still introduce myself. I will be the auctioneer for today's event. Let me say a few things first. Will be clear from the start. This auction is strictly payment for goods, no exceptions. As long as the item doesn't have a defect, we do not accept any returns." After finishing his speech, he waved his hand, and a cover on the platform was lifted. Lying there was a bright red fruit. The first item, dragon scale fruit, perfect for strengthening the physical body. Whether you're a Meridian cultivator below Genesis Palace realm, or buying for a younger generation just starting out, it's worth getting. Starting price, 10 spirit crystals. Each bid must increase by at least 10. As soon as he finished, someone raised a sign and shouted, 20 crystals! I bid 50. In the end, a cultivator bought the dragon scale fruit for 100 spirit crystals. No one else tried to compete. Not because they didn't have the money, but because the price was fair. Unless someone really wanted it, no one would overpay. The second item is a martial skill called Monument-Breaking Palm. A palm strike like a heavenly monument, fists that shatter mountains and rivers. Starting bid, 50 spirit crystals. Each increase must be at least 50. As soon as the words landed, the crowd started getting excited. The Wan clan's auction strategy was clever. They started with smaller items and saved the big ones for later. Even these cheaper items were well selected. Dragon scale fruit and monument-breaking palm weren't rare treasures, but they were rare enough that big shots didn't care, while everyday cultivators found them valuable. In short, everything being auctioned was of the rare but not priceless kind. As item after item was auctioned off, most of the crowd had already spent a large portion of their money. Wan Shiwan knocked the metal gong on the stage and said loudly, "The next item is a little special." With a wave of his hand, a bell-shaped object appeared on the stage. This came from the God-Demon battlefield. It contains divine energy, but the bell itself is broken and doesn't function. We're auctioning it as is and do not guarantee anything. Starting bid, 100 spirit crystals. Bid increments can be whatever you like. After hearing this, the room went silent. They're seriously trying to sell this broken thing? Are they that desperate for money? Someone muttered. Hey, no one's forcing you to buy. Who knows, it could be a hidden treasure. It's up to you. I bid 100 crystals. A man from a booth in the corner of the second floor called out. 100 crystals. Anyone else? Wan Shiwan asked again. Even if we can't test what it does, it might have a hidden function. At worst, a few hundred crystals isn't a big loss. 200 crystals. 300 crystals. More people from the second floor started casually placing bids. 1,000 crystals, Su Zimo called out, raising his bidding plate. Hearing that, many who were just testing the waters gave up. But in the corner of the first floor, a woman wearing a conical hat stood up and kept bidding. 1,100 crystals. 2,000 crystals, Su Zimo called again. 2,100. The woman still continued. 10,000 crystals, Su Zimo said casually with a wave of his hand. You're crazy. Spending 10,000 on some piece of junk. Lin Feng couldn't help but speak up. What do you care? Didn't father say I could use 1,000,000 crystals? Just pay up, Su Zimo replied calmly. After that, the woman on the first floor went quiet. She seemed to be weighing the pros and cons. Chapter 628 Monk Kuwu. After thinking for a moment, the woman in the bamboo hat finally made her offer. 11,000 spirit crystals. It's just a broken bell. What's so special about it? People below the stage began to murmur in confusion. Could there be some hidden secret in it? The people on the first floor didn't have much money to begin with, and those on the second floor had their eyes on other auction items. So if the price got too high, naturally no one wanted to waste spirit crystals on other things. 20,000 spirit crystals. Without hesitation, Su Zimo said after hearing the bamboo hat woman's bid. The young master in the bamboo room has bid 20,000 spirit crystals. Anyone else want to raise the price? The red-robed old man said with a cheerful smile. He had thought it was just a broken item, but now there was an unexpected surprise. The bamboo hat woman fell completely silent this time. Then it settled. This bell from the God-Demon battlefield goes to the young master in the bamboo room. The red-robed old man said after waiting a moment and struck the gavel. Not long after, a maid came in with the bell on a tray. According to auction rules, it was cash on delivery. Su Zimo looked at Lin Feng, and Lin Feng reluctantly paid the 20,000 spirit crystals. Originally, he thought Su Zimo wouldn't need the spirit crystals, so he could use them to buy something for the upcoming Nine Heavens Grand Gathering. But judging by the situation now, even 1,000,000 spirit crystals might not be enough. Su Zimo took the bell and began examining it. The bell was about the same size as an ordinary one, dark brown in color, with rust and peeling paint in some places, clearly very old. Inside the bell was a small, round, stone-like clapper. When shaken lightly, it made a faint ringing sound. Nothing about it seemed special. If no one had said it came from the divine demon battlefield, It wouldn't even be worth a regular bell. Does this bell do anything? Jiang Chongqing asked from the side. Can't tell for now. Su Zimo shook his head. He couldn't sense any energy in the bell. Just a pile of junk. What use could it possibly have? Lin Feng added. You think I need your opinion on whether it's useful? Su Zimo shot back. If I don't say anything, let's see how you explain this to father when we return, Lin Feng retorted. The auction on the first floor continued, and more items were put up for bidding. As the event progressed, the items got pricier. Finally, when the red-robed old man presented a purple flower, Lin Feng became serious. The flower was about the size of a palm, with 6 petals, each engraved with Buddhist chants. Staring at it long enough, you could almost hear faint whispers of chanting. This is the heavenly lotus, a flower unique to the temple of myriad Buddhas, the red-robed old man explained with a smile. It blooms once every 6 months after being placed in the temple's sanctum. It wards off evil, calms the mind, and offers protection. It's extremely rare and greatly enhances understanding of Buddhist techniques and martial arts. Starting price is 1 million spirit crystals, with each bid increase no less than 100,000. As soon as he finished speaking, people began bidding. 1.1 million spirit crystals. 1.5 million spirit crystals. Seeing how aggressive the bidding was, Lin Feng looked at Su Zimo and said, Brother, father only gave us 5 million spirit crystals for this auction. If it's not enough, we'll have to use your share too. That's your problem. If you're short, pay the difference yourself. I'm not helping. Su Zimo waved him off, firmly refusing. Lin Feng's face darkened. He wanted to say something but held back, clenching his fists. 3 million spirit crystals. When the bidding started to slow down, Lin Feng shouted, You people from Grand Heaven Mountain want in on this too? Someone from a second-floor room called out. Got enough money? Want me to lend you some? No need for Jade Heaven Mountain to worry, Lin Feng replied calmly. He recognized the speaker as Yen Song, the prince of Jade Heaven Mountain. In that case, I'll bid 3.5 million spirit crystals, Yen Song said from his room. 4 million, Lin Feng said with a sour expression. The others were intrigued by the rivalry between the two branches and didn't bid further. After all, their target wasn't the heavenly lotus. 4.5 million. Yen Song followed up immediately. In his room, a middle-aged man next to him reminded, Prince, this isn't our target. What if the other side stops bidding? Don't worry, he'll keep going, Yen Song replied with a smile. I bid 5 million. Yen Song, if you bid again, I'll drop out and let you have it, Lin Feng said coldly. His energy flared, clearly agitated. A gentleman doesn't take what others desire. Since you like it so much, it's yours, Yen Song smiled. Just as Lin Feng was about to relax, a voice suddenly came from the first floor. I bid 5.1 million. Everyone turned toward the voice and saw a monk quietly sitting among the crowd. It's Monk Kuwu, someone exclaimed in surprise. He was once the number 1 divine monk of the Temple of Myriad Buddhas, but was later expelled, another whispered. He dares show his face here? Isn't he afraid of being caught by the temple? You don't know, the monks haven't left the temple for a long time. It's unlikely they'd come to Fire Phoenix City anytime soon. 5.5 million. Lin Feng gritted his teeth and bid again. Friends from Grand Heaven Mountain, Monk Kuwu spoke calmly after chanting Amitabha. I have no intention of competing with you for the heavenly lotus. If you agree to one request, I will withdraw and even reimburse you for the extra crystals you just bid. What request? Lin Feng frowned. I've heard that the ancestor of Nine Heavens sect once defeated the ghost Buddha Tathagata and obtained the 6 cuts of Ghost Zen, Monk Kuwu said. I only ask to take a look at it. Impossible. That's Grand Heaven Mountain's core technique. We can't just let someone else see it. Lin Feng refused. In that case, don't blame me for not stepping aside. Monk Kuwu replied, and immediately said, I bid 6 million spirit crystals. With a loud bang, Lin Feng slammed the table beside him, his energy flaring up even more. This Monk Kuwu is looking for death, he said angrily. Monk Kuwu is a world paragon. You're probably not his match yet, Su Zimo said with a smile. Chapter 629, Heavenly Lotus. Upon hearing Su Zimo's words, Lin Feng turned his head and gave a cold, icy stare. He then said calmly, "After this auction is over, elders from Grand Heaven Mountain will escort us away. Are we still supposed to be afraid of that Monk Ku? What can you do now anyway? If I'd known, my father should have let me handle the auction." Su Zimo shook his head and said, "You have a plan?" Lin Feng asked urgently. "First tell me, why is your father bidding for the heavenly lotus flower?" Su Zimo asked. Lin Feng looked around, then finally stepped up to Su Zimo and whispered, "It seems to be for healing an elder from our Grand Heaven Mountain. I don't know the rest." Su Zimo nodded, looked toward the first floor, and said loudly, "Monku, our Grand Heaven Mountain's secret techniques definitely won't be shown to you, but I've studied the 6 cuts of Ghost Zen. If you want that, I can tell you." "Why should I believe you?" Monk Kuwu replied. "You have no choice but to believe me. Otherwise, you'll never find the 6 cuts of Ghost Zen anywhere else in this world," Su Zimo said. "Fine, I'll trust you this once. If you lie to me, I'll hunt you down to the ends of the earth. I've got no ties, and I'm not afraid of your 9 Heavens Imperial sect," Monk Kuwu declared bluntly. Su Zimo nodded slightly, then turned to Lin Feng and said, "Place the bid." "You really learned the 6 cuts of Ghost Zen?" Lin Feng asked with a frown. "You're auctioning your item. Don't ask about things you shouldn't," Su Zimo said coolly. 6 million, Lin Feng called out directly. He was putting up 5 million himself, and Monk Kuwu would cover the remaining 1 million. Hearing that price, no one else in the audience competed. The red-robed elder brought down the gavel to finalize the deal. Not long after, the heavenly lotus flower was brought forth. It was placed inside a box to prevent the flower's Buddhist essence from being depleted. Lin Feng paid the 6 million spirit crystals, intending to later collect the extra million from Monk Kuwu. The auction continued to heat up. Finally, when only the last 3 items remained, the entire venue fell silent. Everyone knew these were the 3 highlight items of the event, meant for the powerhouses to vie over. The rest were just spectators now. The items we're about to auction are the grand finale of this auction. "I believe everyone already knows this," the red-robed elder said with a smile. "But I'll still give a brief introduction." With a wave of his right hand, a high platform slowly rose from the ground. On top of the platform was a transparent dome. Inside it was a heart, pounding rhythmically with a thump, thump, thump. The heart was golden red in color, emanating bursts of lightning and flame. Even with the transparent cover shielding it, the power it radiated was enough to shake everyone present. The heart of Thunderflame, a creation of heaven and earth. "Only one of these appears every 1,000 years, the red-robed elder said, smiling. "If you want to obtain this heart of Thunderflame, I won't bother telling you how perilous and grueling the journey is. To reach the sky's edge is a near-death endeavor. The starting bid is 10 million spirit crystals, and each raise must be no less than 1 million. As soon as the elder finished speaking, someone on the second floor called out, 20 million. "Who's that? So filthy rich?" Someone muttered and turned to look. It was the room belonging to the Mountain River Imperial Sect. In recent years, the Mountain River Imperial Sect has been rising fast, seemingly poised to lead the 5 great imperial sects. No kidding. Give them a little more time, and they might even become an Empyrean sect. 30 million spirit crystals, called out Yen Song from the Jade Heaven Mountain's room. "Why is Jade Heaven Mountain competing with us?" A voice from the Mountain River Imperial Sect side, Chu Xichao, said loudly and casually. 40 million spirit crystals, Chu Shanhe called out calmly. 50 million. Another voice from a different room on the second floor immediately followed. "It's Old Man Withered Tree," someone whispered. "What does he want the heart of Thunderflame for? That thunder and fire within it is practically his nemesis." He can't even use it. Who knows? He probably has his own plans. 60 million. Came a bid from yet another room, this time from the World Sovereign Empyrean sect. The World Sovereign Empyrean sect had kept a low profile during this trip to Bright Flame City. No one even knew who their leader was. 100 million spirit crystals. Came a bold shout from the Mountain River Imperial sect, trying to cap the bidding. 100 million spirit crystals and 100 divine crystals. Old Man Withered Tree said calmly. Divine crystals? Is he crazy? Someone below exclaimed. Everyone knew spirit crystals were the most commonly used currency on the Eternal Lands. Most transactions used spirit crystals. But above spirit crystals, there were even rarer and more precious crystals, such as divine crystals and demon crystals. On the god-demon battlefield in the Eternal Lands, many spirit crystals absorb divine or infernal energy over time, gradually transforming into divine or demon crystals. These two types of crystals were among the most valuable in the entire Eternal Lands. Since Old Man Withered Tree had bid using divine crystals, any further bids would also need to use divine or demon crystals. No amount of spirit crystals could match the value. 200 divine crystals. Came a bid from the World Sovereign Empyrean sect. 1,000 demon crystals, shouted the Mountain River Imperial sect. This really is a clash of titans. We'll probably never even see this many divine crystals in our lifetime. Someone in the crowd sighed. 1,100 divine crystals. Old Man Withered Tree coughed and continued. If you outbid me, I'll withdraw. Inside the Mountain River Imperial sect's room, Chu Shanha frowned slightly and turned to an elder beside him. This price is already beyond our budget. That old bastard Withered Tree. Could he be a plant sent to drive up the price? Chu Zichao said carelessly. But at this point, backing out would feel a bit bitter, the elder replied. Princess, the decision is yours. After all, the heart of Thunderflame is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. 3,100 demon crystals. Chu Shanha slammed the table and shouted. With a final gavel strike from the red-robed elder, the auction platform revealed the second grand finale item. Several thousand years ago, the Eastern region saw the rise of a legendary sage called the Grand Empyrean Heaven Unity. I'm sure everyone's heard the name. The red-robed elder introduced with a smile. Today's auction item is something left behind by Grand Empyrean Heaven Unity. He removed the dome from the platform, revealing a stone inside. Chapter 630, The Auction Ends. The stone was pitch black, smooth and glossy, about the size of a fist, with a faint flow of spiritual energy swirling within it. This is a Heaven Unity stone. I'm sure many of you have heard of it, the red-robed elder said with a smile. Legend has it that the Grand Empyrean Heaven Unity wasn't human. He was a type of stone spirit. He was a naturally formed stone essence that eventually cultivated into a Grand Empyrean. In the inheritance he left behind, he created 36 Heaven Unity stones. Among them, one true stone contains the legacy of his entire life. We haven't inspected this particular Heaven Unity stone ourselves, so we can't confirm whether it's the genuine one. It's a gamble. If it's real, you gain the Grand Empyrean's inheritance. If it's not, you walk away with nothing. The starting bid for the Heaven Unity stone is 1,000 divine crystals. Each raise cannot exceed 100 divine or demon crystals. 2,000 demon crystals. Our World Sovereign Empyrean sect wants this, called out Red King Huangfu Xian loudly. 3,000 demon crystals. Someone in another upstairs room said quietly. The crowd turned toward the voice. Anyone able to offer such a price was undoubtedly a major figure. But the windows of that room were tightly shut. The voice sounded like an old man, but nothing else could be discerned. For 1,000 demon crystals, Huangfu Xian continued shouting. 5,000 demon crystals. 6,000 demon crystals. When the bidding hit 10,000 demon crystals, the person in that room seemed impatient and directly said, 20,000 demon crystals. 20,100. The World Sovereign Empyrean sect's people frowned slightly, but still refused to back down. Inside their room, Red King Huangfu Xian furrowed his brows and asked the sect elder beside him, Do we know who's bidding against us? Not yet. The elder shook his head. This is ridiculous. We don't even know who we're competing with, and our max budget is only 50,000 demon crystals, said Huang Fuxianyue from the side. In my opinion, the odds that this stone contains a legacy are pretty low. There are 36 of them, after all. And if it really did contain the legacy, why would the Wan clan put it up for auction? The elder reminded them. A Grand Empyrean's intentions are beyond our understanding, especially someone like the Grand Empyrean Heaven Unity, who ranked among the top. Huang Fuxian shook his head slightly. Then he shouted out his bid. 30,000 demon crystals. 50,000. Came a reply from the opposing room, an immediate jump of 20,000 without hesitation. The spectators all raised their brows. No one knew who this mysterious figure was, but casually offering that many demon crystals was a massive flex, even for an Empyrean sect. 51,000 demon crystals. Huang Fuxian raised the bid again. 60,000. Came the counterbid. The other party was clearly determined and throwing around tens of thousands as if it were nothing. We couldn't win this even if we tried now, Huang Fuxian said with a helpless shake of his head to those around him. 60,000 demon crystals. Any more bids? The red-robed elder looked around. Seeing no one respond, he brought down the gavel and announced, "Then this Heaven Unity Stone goes to the guest in room 111. After finishing, the red-robed elder scanned the room once more and smiled. Now, for the final item in our auction. The 9 Heavens Body Refining Pill. This pill was refined by our founder, wasn't it? Jiang Chongqing asked from the side. Yes. Ye Kai nodded. There aren't many of his pills left. Ever since the ancestor of Cinnabar Heaven Mountain learned the art of alchemy, the founder rarely refined pills himself. As everyone knows, the 9 Heavens Sage was a true genius. His self-created 9 Heavens Tao is renowned across the land and considered one of the most versatile paths. The red-robed elder explained with a smile. When he created the Cinnabar Heaven Tao, he refined 3 peerless divine pills. This 9 Heavens Body Refining Pill is one of them. As the name suggests, body refining doesn't need much explanation. Everyone knows that in cultivation, talent cannot be ignored. Good talent gives you a head start. This 9 Heavens Body Refining Pill is a pill that can turn a useless cultivator into a prodigy. Just tell us what it actually does. Someone in the audience shouted out of curiosity. To refine the body means reshaping your physical form with the power of the 9 Heavens Tao, and even remodeling your soul. Whether it's opening up your meridians or improving your comprehension and learning abilities, everything improves dramatically. For someone struggling in cultivation, it's a blessing, the red-robed elder explained. Because this pill was consigned to us, it will not be auctioned for divine crystals. It will be traded item for item instead. How exactly does that work? Someone asked with interest. The person who consigned it wants to trade the 9 Heavens Body Refining Pill for a small bottle of Celestial River Holy Water. Celestial River Holy Water? What's that? Someone asked in confusion. They had never even heard of it. It's from a very ancient legend. Someone nearby thought for a moment and explained. There used to be a river in the ancient divine court called the Celestial River. It flowed through the most spiritually abundant lands, absorbing the essence of the heavens and earth, sun and moon. Every 100 years, a single drop of holy water would condense. Then a small bottle must have taken at least 10,000 years to fill, someone exclaimed. 10,000 years? That stuff is now practically impossible to obtain. Another person shook their head in awe. After the divine court was destroyed in the Great War with the demon realm, the Celestial River vanished completely. Where would you even find Celestial River holy water now, let alone a small bottle? Hearing the red-robed elder's offer, the room fell into murmurs, then gradually went silent. We're willing to trade, but we don't have a full bottle. We only have 20 drops. Someone from the far right room on the second floor said. Who is that? People looked toward the room, curious. Even Celestial River holy water, something nearly lost to time, they have. The red-robed elder thought for a moment, then said, "Please wait. We need to consult the seller." He stepped down from the auction platform and walked toward the third floor of the ancient tower. Lin Feng looked at the room that had offered the Celestial River holy water and smiled in recognition. So it's them. Looks like they came prepared. When the auction ends, should we go say hello? Yikai asked the others. You know the people in that room? Su Zimo asked curiously. That room was prepared for our main sect, Yikai explained. The Nine Heavens Empyrean sect? Su Zimo asked. Yes, they're the main sect representatives here to observe the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering. In the end, it's up to them to decide who can enter the main sect. Yikai nodded. The red-robed elder returned from the third floor not long after. Chapter 631, Main Sect arrives. The old man in the red robe smiled and said, "The seller is willing to make the exchange. Congratulations to the guest in the blue room for acquiring the final auction item. With that, the auction comes to an end. Thank you all for your support. The date for the next auction by the Wan clan will be announced later. After the auction, our Wan clan has prepared a small gathering here in the ancient tower. Guests who wish to stay behind are welcome to do so. Everyone can get to know each other." Hearing this, almost none of the guests on the second floor left. Most people on the first floor stayed, though a few chose not to get involved. Su Zimo stared at the blue room. When the people inside came out, he was slightly surprised. Two people emerged. The refined middle-aged man and the woman in the purple dress he had encountered when killing the green flood dragon. "They're from the main sect?" Su Zimo asked Yikai, pointing at the two. "Yeah, the man's name is Mu Changa. A few years ago, during our Nine Heavens Grand Gathering, he was the one who selected the candidates to go to the main sect. As for the woman, I haven't seen her before," Yikai explained. Everyone came down from their rooms on the second floor. Some people around them were already stepping forward to greet each other. The Wan clan brought out food made from various beast meats and soups brewed from mystical herbs in the ancient tower. Beautiful songstresses played music and danced in the center of the first floor, and the atmosphere quickly shifted from the tense auction to a social gathering. The people from the World Sovereign Empyrean sect included Red King Huang Fuxian, while the Nine Heavens Empyrean sect was represented by Mu Changa and the woman in the purple dress, whom Su Zimo had previously met. Yen Song from Jade Heaven Mountain also came over. Since the Mountain River Imperial sect had successfully bid for the Thunderflame Heart, their popularity had soared. The person who had won the Heaven Unity Stone was an elderly man dressed in a Taoist robe. His eyebrows and beard were already white. His gray-white long hair was neatly tied up in a bun, giving him a somewhat otherworldly appearance. Lin Yuetian, Red King Huang Fuxian, recognized the old man at a glance. "Red King, long time no see," the old man Lin Yuetian said with a gentle smile. "I figured it must be you who wanted that Heaven Unity Stone." "No wonder," Huang Fuxian chuckled. "Your ancestor's item has returned to its rightful owner." Hearing that title, others around began whispering, "Lin Yuetian? Isn't he the old heavenly master of Celestial Gate? A descendant of the Heaven Unity Grand Empyrean?" "That should be right," someone nearby nodded and said. "In recent years, Celestial Gate has been searching for the Heaven Unity Stone, trying to recover their ancestral legacy. Here, Lin Feng led the people from Grand Heaven Mountain, and Yen Song brought those from Jade Heaven Mountain. They both came forward to greet Mu Changa. "Greetings, Elder Mu," the two said respectfully. "No need for formalities. You all need to put in more effort at this Nine Heavens Grand Gathering," Mu Changa replied with a smile. Then he glanced at the woman in the purple dress beside him and said, "Zier, you're all around the same age. You can get to know each other." "Got it, Uncle Mu," the woman nodded slightly. Before leaving, Mu Changa looked at Su Zimo in the back with some interest. The gathering soon became a bunch of smaller conversations. The younger generation mingled with each other, while the big names like Huang Fuxian and Mu Changa also socialized. Su Zimo wasn't interested in such gatherings. He simply found a seat on the side, quietly lying there, watching the others greet each other like actors in a play. "I'm Lin Feng, heir of Grand Heaven Mountain. May I ask your name, young lady?" Lin Feng and Yen Song were surrounding the woman in the purple dress, trying to get to know her. But she didn't seem very interested, responding briefly before walking away. The monk Ku walked over from afar and said to Su Zimo, "Remember what you promised me. As long as you dare to ask, I dare to give," Su Zimo replied calmly. "I'll be waiting for you after the gathering," Ku said and then left. Not long after, someone knocked on the table next to Su Zimo with a few dong 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 sounds. Su Zimo turned to look and saw the woman in the purple dress standing beside him, looking at him with a half smile. "We meet again," she said. "Yeah, the world's really small," Su Zimo replied casually. "Judging by your tone, you don't seem very happy to see me," she said with a smile, sitting down beside him. "Do you need something?" Su Zimo asked. "Just came to thank you for giving us the dragon tendon," she said. "I only accept repayment through devotion. Verbal thanks are useless," Su Zimo said, waving his hand. "I'm willing to devote myself. Do you dare accept it?" she said playfully. "Why wouldn't I? You're average looking, but you could manage as a maid who pours tea," Su Zimo replied. The woman in purple laughed and shook her head, saying, "You're right. People from the subsect like you wouldn't understand matters of the main sect. From the sound of it, you look down on people from the branch sects," Su Zimo said. "It's not that I look down on them. The facts speak for themselves," she replied with a smile. "Over the years, those who came from branch sects to our main sect, aside from one man a few years back, have all ended up as servants to our disciples." "That's them," Su Zimo said calmly. "What makes you different?" the woman asked with interest. "For them, the Empyrean sect might be the goal of a lifetime. But for me, the Empyrean sect doesn't even qualify to be the starting point," Su Zimo replied evenly. Hearing this, the woman laughed and said, "I thought you were interesting, but turns out you're just full of big talk." As they were chatting, Huang Fuxian's children, Huang Fu Hao and Huang Fu Xianyue, walked over. "Lin, we meet again," Huang Fu Hao said through clenched teeth. "What? Didn't I beat you enough last time?" Su Zimo asked, looking up. "Last time I wasn't prepared. I want to challenge you again," Huang Fu Hao said. "Children fighting is meaningless," Su Zimo said, waving his hand. "Scram before I kill you." Hearing this, Huang Fu Hao's face turned ugly. He glanced at his sister, Huang Fu Xianyue. Huang Fu Xianyue chuckled softly, then leaned in close and whispered in Su Zimo's ear, "Lin Xiao, you're from the ancient demon race, aren't you?" "What makes you say that?" Su Zimo asked. "You don't need to deny it. This matter isn't over. I'll come for you again," she said, then turned and walked away. Su Zimo felt that these people were getting a bit arrogant. If his soul weren't unstable right now, he would have liked to massacre an Empyrean sect or two just to see what happens. Besides, the method to fuse with the blood lizard is in the world sovereign Empyrean sect. For now, Su Zimo wasn't ready to kill the Huangfu siblings. Chapter 632, Remnant of the God Race. This auction had gone fairly well overall for the people of Grand Heaven Mountain. After the gathering ended, the others returned to the inn to pack up and prepare to return to the sect. Su Zimo, however, hadn't left yet. He had already been targeted by the monk Kuwu. "You all go ahead." Su Zimo waved his hand and said to Jiang Chongsheng and the others. "What about you?" Yi Xian asked worriedly from the side. "I'll handle it," Su Zimo replied. Jiang Chongsheng knew Su Zimo's strength and didn't insist. Lin Feng, on the other hand, had long been displeased and naturally didn't care to get involved. Watching everyone leave, the monk Kuwu came up to Su Zimo and said, "Where's the meridian technique?" "Too troublesome to explain it character by character. I can demonstrate it while explaining my insights," Su Zimo said. "You better not try anything," Kuwu warned. Kuwu led Su Zimo to a secluded alley in Bright Flame City. The alley was deserted, with an entrance on the left and a dead end on the right. "I'll give you 2 hours. If I don't learn it by then, I'll kill you," Kuwu said. "Won't take that long." Su Zimo waved his hand and said, "Watch closely. The first move of the 6 cuts of Ghost Zen is called Law Without Cause." As his words fell, Su Zimo waved his hands, and countless ghostly shadows swirled around him. Some were skeletal heads, others were bloody skeletons crawling out of a sea of blood, surging toward Kuwu like zombies. Shrill screams echoed all around. "What are you doing?" Kuwu frowned slightly. "Didn't you want to learn? I'm giving you a demonstration." Su Zimo smiled. "This first move corresponds to the eye among the 6 human senses. Don't panic. Everything you see is an illusion." "An illusion?" Kuwu said warily. Before he could react, the skeletons were already frenziedly lunging at him. He tried his best to dodge, but the alley was now packed with skeletons. Surrounded by them, it wasn't long before he was torn to pieces. Hands, feet, head, and body, nothing left intact. A breeze swept through, and the skeletons vanished. Only Kuwu's corpse remained stiff in the alley. His body looked completely unharmed. No wounds at all, but his breathing had stopped, and his pupils were dilated. He seemed to have suffered inhuman torment before death. Su Zimo walked up to the corpse, shook his head, and sighed. "You wanted to learn, and yet you died before enduring even the first move. Pathetic." After speaking, he looked toward the depths of the alley and said, "You've been following me all this way, not planning to show yourself." As his words fell, a woman in a conical hat slowly walked out. Su Zimo recognized her. She was the one who had bid against him for the bell at the auction. "Who are you?" Su Zimo asked. "You don't need to know. Just hand over that god race bell, or you'll be in grave danger," the woman said. "I'd like to know what kind of danger?" Su Zimo asked with interest. The woman in the conical hat snorted coldly and didn't bother speaking further. She struck at Su Zimo. Wearing a gray robe, the black cloth of her hat fluttered as she moved with elegant grace. She launched a palm strike at Su Zimo's chest. Su Zimo remained calm, allowing her strike to land on him. He wanted to test just how tough his body had become after all his tempering. With a boom, the palm exploded on his chest, golden spirit force coiling around her hand. Su Zimo stood motionless, while the woman was sent flying backward. World Paragon Realm? I expected more. Su Zimo shook his head slightly. However, when that golden energy entered his body, it triggered a rejection response in his hell-suppressing demon physique. "You!" The woman looked at Su Zimo, too shocked to speak. "Since when were 9 Heavens Imperial Sect disciples this strong? Now I'm actually interested in you." Su Zimo smiled, raised his right hand, and slammed down a massive palm. He sealed all the meridian gates in her body using the power of creation. But as he did, he clearly felt that the golden energy within her seemed to have consciousness, struggling against the seal. And its intensity was quite high. Su Zimo gently removed the conical hat from her head, revealing a stunningly beautiful face. Her skin was fair as snow, flawless and soft, with a fine, straight nose, elegant brows, a lock of hair fluttering near her ear, and especially those eyes, like stars and moonlight. They gave her an ethereal, breathtaking aura. Though she wore a gray robe, her beauty still radiated. A faint, elegant fragrance lingered around her. "Talk. Who are you?" Su Zimo asked. The woman turned her head away, ignoring him. "It's fine if you won't speak. I have plenty of ways to make you talk," Su Zimo said calmly. "For example, I know a soul-searching technique that can strip your memories. Anyone subjected to it suffers soul damage and becomes mentally crippled. Then I'll sell you to a brothel. With your looks, you'd fetch a high price." "You shameless bastard." The woman turned her head, furious. "I'll ask just once. Who are you?" Su Zimo said. "If I tell you, will you let me go?" she asked, looking up. "Sure. You're of no use to me anyway." Su Zimo nodded. "Remnant of the god race." "Jiu, the woman said coldly. "Remnant of the god race? What's that?" Su Zimo frowned. After the God-Demon War, the ancient god race was nearly wiped out. We remnants are those who still carry god blood in our veins, Jiu explained. So there was a war caused by the ancient demon race in this world too. Su Zimo frowned and muttered to himself. Then he asked, "What do you want the bell for?" After the war, many god race treasures were abandoned on the battlefield. We remnants are naturally searching for them, Jiuyu replied. Then why did you give up during the auction? Su Zimo asked. Broke, Jiuyu replied bluntly. How do you use this bell? Su Zimo took out the bell and asked. You can't use it. It requires god power to activate, Jiuyu replied. And if I'm not mistaken, this bell isn't just any god race treasure. It's one recorded in our ancestral records. Chapter 633, Demon Locking Bell. Ancestral records? Su Zimo asked curiously. In the ancient god race's weapon records, there are 3 legendary artifacts noted. The Heaven-Measuring Ruler, the Demon-Devouring Jar, and the Demon-Locking Bell. You're not about to tell me that this bell is the Demon-Locking Bell, are you? Su Zimo asked with a laugh. I'm not sure, but I have some reason to suspect it, Jiuyu replied. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother coming to steal just an ordinary artifact. At least you're honest, Su Zimo chuckled. It doesn't matter if I tell you. You're not of ancient god race blood, so you can't use it anyway, Jiuyu said. What does the demon-locking bell do? Su Zimo asked. It's used specifically to imprison powerful demons, Jiuyu replied. All I know is from the records in the clan's genealogy. I wasn't alive during the God-Demon War. The demon-locking bell is as renowned as the demon sealing tower in Mount Shu of the northern region. Both are considered the strongest sealing artifacts in the world. Then help me open it, Su Zimo said. I'm not strong enough. Unless you can obtain the god key from my clan, Jiuyu replied. I knew you were being so forthcoming for a reason. Clearly scheming. Su Zimo laughed. That's just how it is. Either you find an ancient god race expert to open it, or you go get the god key and use its power to unlock it, Jiuyu said. Of course, if you think it's useless, you can give it to me. I can trade anything I have for it. Forget it. You can go. Su Zimo waved his hand. One more thing you should know. Now that you have the demon-locking bell, real or not, countless ancient gods will come looking for you in the future. Jiuyu warned before leaving. Let them come, Su Zimo said calmly. I'm suggesting we work together, Jiuyu said, looking at Su Zimo. Work together? How? Su Zimo asked with interest. You've taken the demon-locking bell, which makes you an enemy of the ancient god race. And I'm already a wanted criminal among the ancient god race. We share a common enemy, we could cooperate, Jiuyu proposed. You sure you're really a remnant of the ancient god race? Su Zimo asked. There are things I can't explain to you. Just say yes or no, are we working together? Jiuyu asked. All right. I was planning to visit your ancient god race's ruins anyway, Su Zimo said. By the time Su Zimo returned to the inn with Jiuyu, it was already afternoon. Lin Feng had originally wanted to return to the sect with Muchanga, hoping to use the time to strengthen their relationship, but Muchanga had other matters to attend to. So he handed over the woman in the purple dress to Lin Feng's group, instructing them to return to Nine Heavens Imperial Sect first. The setting sun painted the sky, casting its final rays of brilliance. When Su Zimo arrived with Jiuyu, everyone at the inn looked surprised. Senior brother, who is she? Jiang Chongqing asked from the side. A friend of mine, Su Zimo replied. You can just call her Jiuyu. I plan to bring her to the sect for a while. Jiuyu? Lin Feng frowned slightly and said, Don't just bring people of unknown origin into the sect. Are you some gossiping housewife? Gotta butt into everything. Su Zimo said indifferently. I'll report this to Dad. Don't need your opinion. Lin Feng glared at Su Zimo darkly and turned away, saying no more. Everyone planned to stay at the inn for the night and return to the sect the next day. After dinner and before resting, Su Zimo said to Jiuyu, My previous maid ran off with someone else, so you're in luck. When we get to the sect, I'll tell father that you're the maid I brought back. He'll agree to let you stay. Why should I be your maid? Jiuyu asked with a frown. You need some kind of identity. Otherwise, how will you stay? Su Zimo said casually. Whatever, Jiuyu muttered and slammed the door behind her as she entered the room, seemingly annoyed. Su Zimo looked out the window with deep eyes and chuckled. All the shame my former self left behind. I'll settle it all during the 9 Heavens Grand Gathering. The sun rose in the east, and summer light came early. At dawn, everyone finished packing and left Bright Flame City. After entering 9 Heavens Imperial Sect, Lin Feng frowned slightly and said to Murong Yener, "Strange. The sect said they'd send an elder to meet us. Why haven't we seen anyone? Maybe something held them up?" Murong Yener replied with a shake of her head. The trees of 9 Heavens Sect were lush, the forest calm and cool, with cicadas occasionally chirping in the background. Blood! As the group moved forward, Ye Kai suddenly shouted. They spotted a patch of bright red on a nearby tree. The blood hasn't dried yet, it must have happened just recently. Ye Kai examined it and said, looking ahead, they saw droplets of blood scattered along a trail to the left. It looked like someone had been seriously injured and fled that way. Should we check it out? Ye Kai asked. Better not. We have a mission. Let's return to the sect first, Lin Feng said after some thought. Before anyone could respond, Jiuyu picked up a token from the grass beside her. Is this a 9 Heavens Imperial Sect token? She asked. Su Zimo turned to look. The token was palm-sized, with the characters Grand and Chang inscribed on the front and back. That's Elder Chang's identity token from Grand Heaven Mountain. Yi Xian immediately recognized it. Elder Chang was supposed to be the one coming to meet us, right? Ye Kai guessed. We should check it out, just in case something happened. Lin Feng thought it over and nodded. Following the blood trail, the group continued forward. After about 5 minutes, they found a man lying in a pool of blood among the thick bushes ahead. It's Elder Chang, no doubt about it. Jiang Chongqing hurried over and said. Elder Chang's body was mangled, bleeding from all 7 orifices, and most notably, a palm strike had caved in his back. The palm mark was pitch black, clearly poisonous and almost certainly fatal. He's dead? Lin Feng examined the body and said grimly. Who could have done this? Ye Kai said with a serious expression. Just then, a gust of wind swept in from the distance. 3 figures suddenly flew toward them. Oh, you're all here. Saves me the trouble of hunting you down. A voice rang out as the 3 figures appeared just in front of them. The 3 were cloaked in large black robes, hiding their true faces. They hung upside down from tree branches, staring intently at Su Zimo and the others. Chapter 634, 7 Luminaries. The eyes of the 3 figures were blood red, and the aura surrounding them felt oppressively heavy. The 2 on either side seemed to be at the World Paragon realm, while the one in the center gave off an even greater pressure, about at the Fusion Heaven realm. Everyone's expression grew serious. After all, ever since 9 Heavens Imperial Sect had split, even their strongest ancestor was only at the Fusion Heaven realm. Elder Chang was killed by you? Ye Kai asked from the side. Yes, the black-robed figure said indifferently. Who are you? Jiang Chongqing asked cautiously from the side. We? You can call us the 7 Luminaries, the figure on the left said with a sinister tone. Remnants of the 7 Luminaries sect, Lin Feng exclaimed. This little one is well informed. The figure in the center said in a low, cold voice. I don't recall our 9 Heavens Imperial sect ever offending the 7 Luminaries sect, Lin Feng quickly asked. Can't kill you unless you offend us? Do we 7 Luminaries need a reason to act? The man in the center said. Hand over the heavenly lotus, and I might let you die with an intact corpse. You all hold them off. I'll go get reinforcements from the sect, Lin Feng said to the group. Shameless. Su Zimo glanced at Lin Feng and then said, Let's all split up and run in 4 directions. Whoever gets back to the sect first brings help. After speaking, Su Zimo pointed at Lin Feng and shouted, The heavenly lotus is on him. Then he ran off toward the north. Seeing this, Lin Feng's eyes bulged in fury. You bastard! You're the shameless one. As Su Zimo ran off, Yi Xian, Jiuyu, and the purple-dressed girl from the main clan all followed him. Ye Kai ran south, while Jiang Chongqing headed east. If I die, we all die, Lin Feng roared and followed Su Zimo north. Getting the heavenly lotus is the priority, the central black-robed man said with a slight frown. The three of them moved through the air quickly, catching up with the group in an instant. Why are you following me? Su Zimo looked at the three women behind him. Because you're interesting, the purple-dressed girl replied. What's your cultivation level? Su Zimo asked. Peak of World Paragon, she replied casually. Then when those three catch up, you three hold them off. I'll go get reinforcements, Su Zimo suggested. Are you even a man? The purple-dressed girl snapped. Heh, want to find out? Su Zimo turned and asked. Just then, Lin Feng came charging up from behind. The Fusion Heaven Realm black-robed man waved his right hand, and a wave of imperial pressure descended from above. Flames gathered in his palms. Countless fireballs appeared in the sky, falling like meteors towards Su Zimo and the others. They dodged quickly. The black-robed man watched indifferently as the fireballs smashed craters into the ground. The group narrowly avoided the waves of bombardment. The black-robed man taunted, Why aren't you running anymore? What do we do? Yi Xian asked anxiously. Fight, what else? Su Zimo looked at Lin Feng and said, Air, you go first. I'll cheer you on from the side. Lin Feng glared at Su Zimo but knew the latter was considered a useless waste in the sect. He couldn't really expect him to fight. How long are you going to keep playing around? Jiyu looked at Su Zimo and asked calmly. As someone who had been defeated by Su Zimo in a single move, she was the only one here who knew his true strength. Su Zimo looked at a willow tree not far off and smiled. What's the rush? Someone will save us. It's not my turn yet. Hand over the heavenly lotus, the black-robed man demanded. We're all dead either way. What's the difference if we hand it over or not? Lin Feng asked coldly. Then die, the black-robed man said and struck with a palm. The other two black-robed world paragons guarded the area, preventing any escape. Heaven mark/decision. Seeing the giant palm falling, Lin Feng roared. His muscles and bones erupted with force, and a pure sword intent condensed around him. It was sharp and radiant. Lin Feng leapt into the air, his world paragon aura surging. The long sword sliced through the silent sky, creating endless ripples as it clashed with the black palm. With a loud boom, the palm paused for a moment, then crushed the sword intent completely. The palm continued its unstoppable descent. Lin Feng tried to resist with all his might. The ground was slammed with a massive palm print. Dust flew, and a painful scream came from within. As the dust settled, the group looked to see Lin Feng's legs embedded in the ground like roots. His clothes were torn, hair disheveled. Blood flowed from his entire body, and his sword lay fallen beside him. Too cruel? Su Zimo shook his head and said with a sigh. Could you be even crueler? Help me. Lin Feng's veins bulged on his forehead as he shouted at the group. If I die, you're next. Sorry. Rather you than me. Rest in peace. Su Zimo shook his head. I'd save you if I could, but I'm just a useless waste. Can't help. Hand over the heavenly lotus, the black-robed man said calmly. He then formed blades with both hands, spirit force condensing, and slashed down hard with his right hand. Just as he was about to seize Lin Feng's storage ring, a brilliant sword light struck from the distance. With a loud boom, the cross-shaped sword light shredded the air. The black-robed man narrowed his eyes and struck out with both hands. Another explosion followed, and he was sent flying backward. The group turned to look and saw Mu Changa walking over, a 3-foot green sword in hand, his white scholar's robe fluttering in the wind. Uncle Master, the purple-dressed girl greeted him. Help me, Mu Changa, Lin Feng shouted, feeling hope at last. Who are you? The black-robed man frowned and asked. Mu Changa of 9 Heavens Empyrean Sect. Mu Changa replied with a gentle smile. And which of the 7 luminaries are you? Phoenix, the black-robed man said plainly. I'll report this matter to my sect's higher-ups, Mu Changa said calmly. Leave now, I won't make things difficult for you. So it's the famous Elder Mu, the sword sage himself, the black-robed man said with a faint smile. They say you're invincible among those in the fusion heaven realm. I'd like to test that. You alone aren't enough. But if all 7 luminaries came at once, you might stand a chance, Muchanga said indifferently. The black-robed man stared at Muchanga, his blood-red eyes shifting uncertainly. Chapter 635, Heavenslaying. How would I know if I don't try? The black-robed man said. A strange power suddenly surrounded him, like starlight falling from the heavens. Endless starlight bathed his body. Within that starlight, countless stars appeared, only as outlines, with form but no spirit. Suddenly, one of the stars among them shone brilliantly. Endless star power began pouring out from that star. The next moment, with a loud boom, a huge rift opened in the sky, as if a distant star tens of thousands of kilometers away was aligned with it. This must be the 7 luminaries' art, the famous technique of the 7 luminaries sect, Muchanga murmured. Starfall? The black-robed man growled deeply from his throat. From the rift in the sky, a massive star descended. It looked like a real meteor, falling with dazzling brilliance and blazing flames at several tens of thousands of degrees in temperature. No wonder the Sun-Moon Empyrean sect didn't manage to exterminate you back then. Just this 7 luminaries' art alone must be on the level of an Empyrean art. Muchanga shook his head calmly. He raised his sword. A point of light flickered at the tip. Looking at Lin Feng, he said, "This is not how our 9 heavens celestial mark heaven-slaying sword should be used." Muchanga slowly swung his sword. Boundless sword intent, nearly indescribable, surged and condensed into the blade. A profound and mysterious aura enveloped him, as though he had become one with the world around him. This sword must live up to the name Heavenslaying, Muchanga said calmly. When the sword intent reached its uncontrollable peak, its absolute limit, a thunderous boom erupted as Muchanga hurled both the sword and the sword intent. The long sword collided with the falling star. The void around them shattered, and the shockwave alone flattened several miles of land. Half the sky caved in. When these 2 ultimate forces met, they were evenly matched for a moment. Then, cracks began to spread across the massive star. As the star shattered, the endless sword intent was also consumed. In the moment both forces dissipated, Muchanga's sword shot through the star and pierced straight through the chest of the black-robed man, pinning him in midair. The black-robed man looked down at the sword in his chest, then pulled it out and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. "You win this time," he said, and, without further words, stepped into the sky and left. Muchanga made a gesture with his right hand. The sword flew back to him mid-air, slicing the 2 venerable-level black-robed men in half along the way. "Are you all right?" Muchanga asked as he landed. "I'm fine," Suzimo said with a smile and a shake of his head. "I'm not." Lin Feng groaned from the side. His legs were embedded deep in the ground, completely stuck, lying like a pile of mud on the surface. Muchanga waved his hand slightly. The earth exploded, freeing Lin Feng from the ground. "Thank you, Elder Mu, for saving my life," Lin Feng said gratefully. "Take this pill and heal yourself." Muchanga nodded and casually tossed over a pill. "Elder Mu, why didn't you finish him off just now?" Lin Feng asked after catching the pill. "He and I are both at the fusion heaven realm. I may be stronger, but killing him outright, if he risked his life, he could still escape," Muchanga explained. Lin Feng nodded and sat down to heal after taking the pill. Though his life was saved, his injuries were too severe for him to walk on his own. The group needed to return to 9 Heavens Imperial Sect, and someone would have to carry him. Muchanga, being an elder, obviously couldn't. The rest were women, not ideal. So Lin Feng looked at Suzimo. "What are you looking at me for? I'm not carrying you." Suzimo waved his hand. "If I hadn't delayed them, you'd all be dead," Lin Feng said angrily. "It's not that I don't want to carry you. I'm injured too," Suzimo replied. "You didn't even fight. How could you be injured?" Lin Feng shouted. It's internal. You can't see it, Su Zimo said. Besides, I was already running away. You're the one who led the black-robed man in my direction, and now you have the nerve to blame me? When we get back, I'm reporting to Dad that someone as vicious as you tried to murder your own brother. Hearing this, Lin Feng pointed at Su Zimo, too furious to speak. Eventually, he spat out a mouthful of blood and nearly fainted. Forget it. Let my meridian beast carry him, Mu Changa said with a helpless shake of his head. He gestured with his right hand. A beast's roar echoed ahead. Ripples appeared in the air, and a lion with a blue and black coat appeared. Little Ban, help us out, Mu Changa said with a smile. No problem. The lion spoke human words, picked up Lin Feng with its mouth, tossed him, then caught him on its back. Be gentle. I'm covered in wounds. Lin Feng cried in pain. You're lucky to get a ride. Stop complaining. Or gonna crawl back yourself. The lion replied blandly. Lin Feng's face turned red with anger, but he kept quiet. This lion's got personality, Su Zimo said with interest, stroking his chin. That's Uncle Master's Prajna lion. It's very powerful, the purple-dressed girl said. Meh. I just like its attitude, Su Zimo replied. TCH, you talk big. You probably don't even have a meridian beast, the purple-dressed girl said. Seeing Su Zimo stay silent, she added, My name is Hong Xiling. When you get the chance to visit the main sect, remember my name. So what's the deal with that Seven Luminaries sect? Su Zimo nodded and asked curiously. Seven Luminaries sect is a northern region sect. I don't know much, Hong Xiling replied. They were said to be very powerful, especially the Seven Luminaries' sons, famous names in the north. Though not an imperial tier sect, their strength was equal to one. Unfortunately, they somehow offended the Sun-Moon Empyrean sect and were wiped out. Only the Seven Luminaries' sons escaped. I didn't expect them to come to our southern region. No harm in telling you, just don't spread it around. The Sun-Moon Empyrean sect destroyed the Seven Luminaries to get their Seven Luminaries art. The art is split into upper and lower volumes. Seven Luminaries sect had the upper one. The Sun-Moon Empyrean sect supposedly got the lower. Combine the two, and it's said to be the ultimate cultivation method. Chapter 636, The Struggling Nine Mountains. Mu Changa said calmly, After the Seven Luminaries sect was destroyed, the Seven Luminaries' sons escaped and became wandering cultivators without a sect. They began seizing resources everywhere, earning themselves a terrible reputation. I guess they targeted you during the auction when you bought the Heavenly Lotus. The Seven Luminaries' art is pretty interesting, Su Zimo said with a smile. I'll discuss this matter with the higher-ups in the sect. In the meantime, focus all your energy on preparing for the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering. Mu Changa nodded. After walking a while, Jiang Changsheng and Yi Kai rushed over with an elderly white-haired man. It seemed they had gone to get reinforcements. The old man's aura was powerful, long and continuous, full of vitality. His presence was overwhelming. He wore a white robe embroidered with several white clouds. From the outside, he looked no different from a normal person. His face lined with the marks of time. Only his eyes were bright and piercing, occasionally flashing with light. That's our Grand Heaven Mountain's old ancestor, Yi Xian said from the side. Su Zimo looked in the direction the old man came from. He knew this was one of the few remaining elders of Grand Heaven Mountain, and also the grandfather of his former self, Lin Jumi. Grandfather, Su Zimo greeted. Choer, are you all right? Lin Jumi breathed a sigh of relief and asked urgently. We're fine. Elder Mu saved us, Su Zimo replied. Lin Jumi looked at Mu Changa, smiled and said, The Mu clan boy is impressive. You've inherited your father's style. Changa greets Uncle Lin, Mu Changa said respectfully. Although Nine Heavens Empyrean sect was far stronger than the current imperial sect, they were of the same lineage, and many still referred to each other by generational seniority. Of course, some in the main sect still looked down on the branch sect. There was no helping that. Grandfather, Lin Feng said pitifully from the side, clearly trying to play the victim, almost on the verge of tears. A real man stands tall, as the heir of grand heaven. What's there to cry about? Lin Jumi frowned and scolded him. Lin Feng quickly straightened his expression and lowered his head in silence. Mu clan boy, though you're junior to me in seniority, since you're here representing the main sect, I'll address you formally as Elder Mu, Lin Jumi said. Uncle Lin, as you wish, Mu Changa said with a smile, not minding at all. Are you the only one sent from the main sect to oversee this Nine Heavens grand gathering? Lin Jumi asked again. There's also Elder Qin. He should be arriving soon. I just came earlier due to some personal matters, Mu Changa replied with a smile. Which Elder Qin? Lin Jumi pressed further. Qin Hanxing, Mu Changa answered. Him. Lin Jumi frowned slightly, then shook his head. As the group chatted, they returned to Nine Heavens Imperial Sect in the afternoon. As they neared the sect, they saw a crowd waiting at the gate. It's lively. All 9 leaders of Nine Heavens Imperial Sect are here, Jiang Chongsheng said from the side. Su Zimo looked over and saw that 9 long lines stretched from the mountain gate, nearly blocking it. The clothing among the 9 mountains looked similar, but their colors were distinct. White, black, red, blue, purple, gold, green, gray, and cyan. These 9 colors stood out in front of Nine Heavens' mountain gate. Mist wrapped around the peaks, and long robes rustled in the wind. As Mu Changa and the others approached, the head of Divine Heaven Mountain, Chang Qing, stepped forward and smiled. Welcome, Elder Mu, to Nine Heavens Imperial Sect. Mountain Lord Chang is too kind. We're of the same origin. I hope we can uncover more talented disciples to strengthen our Nine Heavens sect. That's everyone's honor, Mu Changa said humbly. Elder Mu, how is Cheer doing in the main sect? Asked Wang Yuntian, head of Jade Heaven Mountain, with a smile. Junior nephew Qi is one of the Holy Sun candidates and has been cultivating diligently. I don't know many details, Mu Changa replied. Hearing this, the surrounding leaders showed expressions of envy. Usually, branch sect disciples were heavily suppressed when they went to the main sect and could only survive under others. But Jade Heaven Mountain's heir, Wang Qi, had entered Nine Heavens Empyrean sect centuries ago and made a name for himself through sheer determination. Now, he had even become a candidate for Holy Sun. Becoming Holy Sun meant being chosen for cultivation by the sect master. Leaders of Purple Heaven, Cinnabar Heaven, and Pure Heaven Mountains also came forward to greet him. After all, getting into the main sect wasn't just about performance at the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering. Approval from someone like Mu Changa was critical. Elder Mu, the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering preparations are complete. It will be held in 3 days. Why not stay at my Jade Heaven Mountain these days? Wang Yuntian suggested. Divine Heaven Mountain has already prepared a place for Elder Mu. You're welcome to stay there, Chang Qing added. Watching the mountain lords compete for favor, Mu Changa sighed inwardly. No wonder Nine Heavens Imperial Sect had declined in recent years, disunity among the 9 mountains, and power-hungry leadership. I'll rest at Grand Heaven Mountain. I promised Uncle Lin on the way, Mu Changa said with a composed smile. Grand Heaven Mountain? The others glanced at Lin Jumi and Lin Beixing, uncertain. But since Mu Changa had spoken, they didn't dare oppose him, just responded with polite words. As the lowest of the 9 mountains, Grand Heaven Mountain rarely received attention. If a war broke out among the 9, it would be the first to fall. Weakness was a sin. Mu Changa was welcomed into the sect, and the 9 mountains had already prepared a banquet. The whole Nine Heavens Imperial Sect was filled with joy. Naturally, people paid less attention to juniors like Su Zimo. With elders like that, no wonder your branch sect people are all useless, Hong Xiling said with disdain. That I agree with. If it weren't for Nine Heavens Empyrean Sect's support these years, Nine Heavens Imperial Sect might have already lost its Imperial tier status. Jiang Chongsheng replied seriously. I don't really care about this place. After all, I'm just a passerby in this world, Su Zimo said with a faint smile. A passerby? Why speak so cryptically? Jiu asked from the side. How confident are you about the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering? Hong Xiling asked. How confident? You probably don't know my reputation. Su Zimo laughed. Go ask around Grand Heaven Mountain about the name Lin Qiu. Then you'll understand. Chapter 637. A gift for you. Such a mystery monger. Hong Xiling snorted lightly. Senior brother, should I prepare the info on your opponents for the upcoming competition? Jiang Chongqing asked from the side. The heirs of Nine Heavens are no simple opponents. To stand out among thousands and become an heir, they must be capable. Makes no difference. I'm leaving here after the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering anyway, Su Zimo replied. After returning to Grand Heaven Mountain, Lin Feng was immediately taken for treatment. Hong Xiling was given her own residence. As for Jiu Yu, since she was Su Zimo's maid, she stayed in the same courtyard as him. Su Zimo had just returned to the courtyard and hadn't rested long when Lin Beixing sent a disciple to summon him. Su Zimo didn't hurry. He took a bath and changed into a new white robe. Looking into the mirror, it was the first time since arriving in this world that he truly examined his previous self's appearance. Not bad, he had a bit of a handsome pretty boy look. A high nose bridge, messy hair slightly tousled at the top, and especially after tempering his body, his eyes now sparkled with spirit. He made his way to the summit of Grand Heaven Mountain, where his father Lin Beixing and a few elders were gathered. With your grandfather there, I didn't need to get involved, Lin Beixing replied. He looked Su Zimo up and down and then asked seriously, Speak. About what? Su Zimo asked, puzzled. Your brother, Lin Beixing said. What about him? Su Zimo frowned. I just saw him. He said you exposed the heavenly lotus, which caused him to be hunted, Lin Beixing said. There were so many people there. You could have asked anyone, Su Zimo replied. We agreed to split up and run, but he followed me instead, clearly trying to use me as bait. I didn't even say anything, and now he accuses me. You're brothers. There's no need to fall out over a small issue, Lin Beixing said, clearly troubled. Then you should ask my good brother, Su Zimo smiled. Then he took a box from his storage ring and placed it in front of Lin Beixing. Father, this is a gift I prepared for him. Please give it to him for me, just say it's my apology. Let him see it. Don't peek. Very well. I'm glad you're willing to show this gesture. Lin Beixing smiled. Watching Su Zimo leave, Lin Beixing carried the wooden box to Lin Feng's residence. Upon entering the room, he saw shattered vases all over the floor and a trembling maid nearby. Leave us? Lin Beixing frowned and waved the maid off. Father, I lost my composure. Lin Feng lay in bed, trying to compose himself. Still upset about your brother? Lin Beixing asked with a smile. How could I dare be mad at him? You love him so much, Lin Feng said coldly. I admit, I've paid more attention to your brother these years. But you know his situation. He couldn't cultivate since childhood. He's endured far more ridicule and pressure than you. You're the heir. It's different for you. Lin Beixing sat by the bed and spoke earnestly. Your brother is not inconsiderate. He didn't want to face you directly, so he asked me to give you a gift. What gift? Lin Feng frowned. Open it and see, Lin Beixing said with a smile, handing over the wooden box. He specifically told me not to peek. Take a look. Half skeptical, Lin Feng opened the box, and the moment he did, his eyes widened, and his hands began to tremble, unclear if from rage or fear. Inside the box was a severed head. Though the head had been dead for some time, its face was still recognizable. It's Yang Cheng. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. That night, he had sent Yang Cheng to assassinate Su Zimo, planning to frame the incident as a relapse of Su Zimo's old injuries. He had already grown suspicious when Yang Cheng disappeared. But now Yang Cheng had clearly been killed. Countless thoughts surged through Lin Feng's mind. Suddenly, he realized he could no longer see through his younger brother. How could this be? Even Lin Beixing was stunned, taking the box with a frown. This is a warning, father. He must have done it. Lin Feng shouted. He knows Yang Cheng was my man. He wants to kill me. Rest well. I'll handle this, Lin Beishing said, then turned and left the room. Meanwhile, Su Zimo had returned to his courtyard. The severed head wasn't just a warning to Lin Feng, it was a reminder to Lin Beishing as well. Between him and Lin Feng, one had to die. The scorching summer sun baked the earth like a giant fireball overhead. Despite the heat, Nine Heavens Imperial Sect was still bustling with excitement. Su Zimo didn't care much. Word had it that the second elder from the main sect, Qin Hanxing, had also arrived. The Nine Mountains had gone to greet him. Su Zimo had always believed that having powerful backers was fine, but real strength comes from oneself. As for Nine Heavens Imperial Sect's current state, only one phrase described it: barely hanging on. No backbone. No desire to become strong. Just daydreams of miracles from the main sect. He found a shady spot under a large tree in his courtyard and set up a reclining chair to rest. Zhou Yu had just finished bathing. Her long, wet black hair draped over her shoulders as she sat quietly in a nearby pavilion. "When do you plan to visit the God Race's ruins?" Zhou Yu asked. "When I finish my business, I'll go," Su Zimo replied with a smile. "You should give a time at least," Zhou Yu said. "No set time. I'll go eventually. If you can't wait, feel free to leave. I won't stop you," Su Zimo said. Zhou Yu snorted coldly and asked no further questions. Lying on the chair with eyes closed, Su Zimo's consciousness entered the God world. In the God world, within the myriad beast realm, the ancient 9 god beasts were still recovering their strength. The dragon race continued to grow larger. Chaos was managing the myriad beast race. The entire world ran smoothly. During the spatial storm earlier, the Void Spirit Monkey had hidden inside the Great Sage body, and Su Zimo had also thrown that body into his True Fate world in a rush. Now he had entered to find the Great Sage body. He waved his right hand, and his figure gradually disappeared into the void, appearing in the Heavenly Tao itself. "Eye of the Heavenly Tao, help me locate the Great Sage body," Su Zimo said calmly. Chapter 638: Numerous Young Elites. As Su Zimo's words fell, the Heavenly Tao of the God world transformed into the Eye of the Tao. Ripples layered across space, and an eye appeared deep within the void. This eye observed the entire world, with time flowing in reverse within it, as though everything was being traced back. Every blade of grass and every move of every creature on the God world could not escape the Eye of the Tao. It traced the origin, seeing through thousands or even millions of years. The God world had not existed long, and within moments, the Eye of the Tao located the Great Sage body. After Su Zimo had thrown the Great Sage body into this world, it had been picked up by a native. With all the information in hand, Su Zimo descended into the God world. The God world had gone through 2 eras, from the Primordial Genesis era to the Primal Beast era. Creatures of this era slowly began adapting to survival and forming a hierarchy. Those who couldn't adapt were gradually eliminated. Beasts remained the rulers of this world, while a small number of humans began attempting to hunt them. Most humans were still in primitive times, no permanent homes, no understanding of farming or animal husbandry. The Imperial Sun food came directly from nature. At this time, communication between humans was minimal. There were no factions or nations. Though there's always conflict where people gather, in this vast world, humans were just a drop in the ocean. True war was still far off. Mountains had no names, lands had no names, and real writing had yet to appear. Communication among humans was extremely difficult. In a vast mountain range, a family of 4 trudged along: father, mother, and a pair of siblings. As they moved, they collected food along the way, eating anything raw or cooked. They spoke little, only shouting occasionally. As Su Zimo approached from ahead, the 4 of them looked at him curiously. Because of the language barrier, Su Zimo smiled and pointed to the little girl's pouch, indicating something. The girl hesitated but eventually took out a golden monkey statue. After the Great Sage body had fallen into this world, the little girl had picked it up and treated it like a toy. "I'll trade this for that," Su Zimo said. taking out a thick book and pointing to it, signaling a trade. The girl hesitated again, but finally handed the golden monkey statue to Su Zimo. The moment they got the book, the four of them stared in wonder at the paper and the strange symbols on it. Su Zimo had prepared this book beforehand. It was a primer, containing both words and pictures. It was a beginner's guide for teaching humans how to farm and identify herbs. It also included basic knowledge about fire, weather, and the four seasons. Su Zimo planned to use these four as a starting point, hoping they would spread this knowledge to others. In fact, even without his help, humans would eventually figure it all out after hundreds of years. Su Zimo simply didn't want to wait that long. Giving a little help now wouldn't hurt. And once most creatures had roughly figured out the world, he would initiate a spiritual energy awakening, thus transitioning from the primal beast era to the grand cultivation era. The four were completely captivated by the content of the book. Though they didn't understand the words, the illustrations conveyed everything perfectly. When they looked up again, Su Zimo had already vanished, leaving them awestruck, thinking he must be a divine being. With the great sage body's statue in hand, Su Zimo looked at it and said, "What? Still not coming out? Where is this place?" A voice echoed from the glowing statue. It was the void spirit monkey, the great sage Heaven Unity. "You don't need to know that much," Su Zimo said calmly. "But since you're here, there's no escape. You may have my body, but you'll never have my heart," the great sage shouted from within the statue. Su Zimo chuckled without replying and took the statue to the myriad beast realm. "Chaos, I'll leave this guy to you," Su Zimo said, tossing the golden monkey statue over. "Leave it to me, my lord." Chaos smiled and waved. "Brothers, come out and welcome the new guy." Leaving the god world, Su Zimo's consciousness returned to his body. A gentle breeze blew through the courtyard. Jiu Yu was cultivating in the nearby pavilion. Golden light surged around her, likely the divine power she had mentioned earlier. The space rippled around her as if she was merging with it. Everything around was especially quiet. Not long after, Jiang Chongqing walked in from outside. "Senior brother," Jiang Chongqing greeted, holding a thick booklet. "What brings you here?" Su Zimo asked. Jiu Yu also opened her eyes slightly and withdrew from her cultivation state. "I compiled a simple list of the participants for the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering. Let me brief you on a few you should keep an eye on," Jiang Chongqing said. Ever since Su Zimo had slain the green flood dragon, Jiang Chongqing knew he wasn't ordinary. He figured it was best to stick close to such a powerful figure. No need for schemes, loyalty would be rewarded. "I've got nothing else going on. Go ahead." Su Zimo nodded. "Besides our Grand Heaven Mountain's Imperial Sun, you'll need to watch out for the other 8. Jiang Chongqing flipped through the booklet and began. Jade Heaven Mountain's Imperial Sun is Yen Song. You've probably heard of him. Arrogant and domineering, but extremely powerful. It's said he's reached the 4th layer of the Nine Heavens Empyrean canon. Then there's Scenery Heaven Mountain. Their Imperial Sun, Qi Yi, specializes in sound techniques. He was born with 6 fingers. Rarely makes a move, but rumors say, you hear his sound, not his face, then heads will fall. Interesting, Su Zimo smiled. Then there's Pure Heaven Mountain's Imperial Sun, Yu Changlong. Since childhood, he's focused solely on cultivating one blade technique, the Heaven Derivation Life Blade. He's reached the 36th level of blade comprehension. When it comes to blades, no one among 9 Heavens' younger generation can beat him. Among the 9 Imperial Suns, there hasn't been a public duel yet, but the most hyped and most popular one is Shen Yu from Divine Heaven Mountain. Shen Yu? What makes him special? Su Zimo asked curiously. Not too sure, but he's very strong. Even Divine Heaven's elders treat him with great respect, Jiang Chongqing answered. What about that guy who tried to snatch my maid? Something like Jade Heaven's #1 blade, Shen Lang. Su Zimo asked with interest. He's also strong. Used to compete with Yen Song for the Imperial Sun title but got his limbs broken and had to recuperate for a long time, Jiang Chongqing explained. Chapter 639, Nine Heavens Grand Gathering begins. Somewhat interesting, but it's still just child's play, Suzumo said casually. Senior brother, don't underestimate them. These heirs have basically all reached the peak of the world paragon realm. Zhang Chongqing replied. Got it. Do you know how this Nine Heavens Grand Gathering will be conducted? Suzumo asked. No, each Nine Heavens Grand Gathering is designed by the main sect, and the format changes every time. Zhang Chongqing shook his head and said. While the group was chatting, Lin Beixing walked into the courtyard with a stormy expression. He glanced at Zhang Chongqing and Zhou Yu and said calmly, You two step out. I have something to discuss with him. The two nodded and left the courtyard. I want a perfect explanation. Lin Beixing threw the wooden box in front of Suzumo, took a deep breath and said, Do you know the consequences of killing your fellow disciples? What consequences? Suzumo asked with a smile. If this gets out, I won't be able to protect you, Lin Beixing said sternly. What if he tried to kill me first? Suzumo replied. What do you mean? Lin Beixing frowned. Nothing much, but father, you should understand, Suzumo said. He tried to kill me, so I killed him in return. We had no grudge, and he was your son's man. What do you think? You suspect Fenger? Lin Beixing frowned. Not suspect, I'm certain. I just don't have proof, and I'm too lazy to find it, Suzumo said, waving his hand. At the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering, he and I are bound to fight. Father, you should be mentally prepared. Whoever tries to kill me, I will kill. Nonsense. Do you two still see me as your father? Lin Beixing slammed the table. The table made of green steel rock instantly shattered into pieces, and Lin Beixing's expression turned extremely grim. Shouldn't you ask him why he tried to kill me? Suzumo asked. If you two are going to fight to the death, I'd rather Grand Heaven Mountain not participate in this event, Lin Beixing said. Father, you know this isn't about the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering, but between the two of us. Suzumo shook his head and said, Even if we don't participate, there will be a battle eventually. I'll go ask him directly, Lin Beixing said calmly. You think he'll tell you the truth? Suzumo laughed. If you two insist on fighting, then step over my corpse first, Lin Beixing said and left the courtyard. Suzumo looked back. At that moment, Lin Beixing's back looked much older. The next few days were quiet for Suzumo. Neither Lin Beixing nor Lin Feng came to bother him again, until the third day, the day of the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering. On the day of the event, tens of thousands of disciples from all over the sect gathered at Dao Mountain of the Nine Heavens Emperor sect. From above, the 9 peaks of the sect formed a circular shape, surrounding one central peak, Dao Mountain. It used to be the residence of the Nine Heavens sage. After the sage passed away, it became the most revered mountain in the Nine Heavens Imperial sect. Dao Mountain was only opened for major events like the Nine Heavens Grand Gathering. It was vast, its area exceeded that of all the other 9 peaks combined. Each of the 9 branches would select 3 disciples to participate in the event. That made 27 direct participants. In addition to them, there was a grand competition held where all disciples of Nine Heavens Imperial sect could join a massive free-for-all. The final 100 standing would also qualify. Because Suzumo and the others had gone to Bright Flame City earlier, that part of the competition had already been held. When Suzumo arrived at Dao Mountain accompanied by Zhou Yu and Zhang Chongqing, he saw the towering cliffs of the massive mountain, with steep terrain and rocks occasionally tumbling down. The mountain was lush and green. From afar, the peak stood tall like it held up the heavens, resembling a hand lifting the sun over the ethereal land. Countless disciples rushed toward the summit. The 127 disciples participating in the event had their designated area to stand. Everyone else was just spectating. The summit was the center of the Nine Heavens Imperial sect. It was also the convergence point of the Nine Heavens Grand Formation, where spirit force was most abundant and the scenery most stunning. Good luck, senior brother, Zhang Chongqing said from the side. Suzumo smiled and walked toward the 127 selected participants. At the peak, Mu Chang'e stood at the front, with Hong Xiling on his left and a gray-robed elder on his right. Su Zimo guessed this elder was the other envoy from the main sect, Qin Hanxing. He had hawk-like eyes and a hooked nose, a slightly gaunt face, perpetually furrowed brows, and a head full of white hair. He looked extremely rigid, like an old traditionalist. Behind the three stood the 9 peak lords of the 9 Heavens Imperial Sect and rows of elders. I hereby declare the 38th 9 Heavens Grand Gathering officially open, Mu Chang'e announced from the front, his voice loud and solemn. Let me explain the rules and format of this competition. You 127 participants will be transported into an ancient ruin. In this ruin, you are all competitors. Be on guard against each other. You must also watch out for the monsters inside the ruin. Soon, each of you will be given a space token. If your life is in danger, crush the token to be teleported out. If anyone dies in the ruins, we bear no responsibility. This competition acknowledges life and death. In addition, we've hidden 9 Heavens tokens throughout the ruins. Each token corresponds to one of the 9 peaks. The 9 who obtain them will qualify to enter the main sect. Upon hearing Mu Chang'e's words, all the disciples bowed and shouted in unison, "Understood. If there's anything unclear, now's the time to ask," Mu Chang'e said. "Elder, what exactly is this ancient ruin? How strong are the monsters inside?" Someone asked. "This ruin is a relic of ancient times, already fully explored by us. It's specifically used for disciple training. There are no great dangers, but many minor threats. If you're careless, your life could be in danger," Mu Chang'e explained. "Understood." The disciple bowed and stepped back. "If there are no other questions, I will now activate the ruin," Mu Chang'e said. As he spoke, a powerful aura surged around him. Chapter 640, Entering the Ruins. The power of the Fusion Heaven realm surged around Mu Chang'e. With a wave of both hands, he threw out a ball of light. The light soared into the air and exploded mid-air. Half the sky trembled. Mu Chang'e formed a hand seal, seemingly unlocking something. After a long moment, the light in the sky began to expand, crushing the surrounding space. "Activate the formation," Mu Chang'e shouted. Behind him, the peak masters of the 9 branches each took out a token. As their tokens lit up, the entire 9 Heavens Imperial Sect seemed to quake. A rumbling sound echoed from the mountaintop. The 9 Heavens Grand Formation activated, condensing countless streams of spirit force that surged toward the sky above Dao Mountain. This was the core of the 9 Heavens Grand Formation, the convergence point of all spirit force. As the energy gathered, it created a storm that roared like rolling clouds. The entire sky was engulfed. When the light expanded to a certain range, a loud boom sounded, and the entire sky began to shift. Images appeared in the heavens. Primeval forests, deserts, snowy mountains, 100-foot-tall monsters, and chilling screams. Scenes flickered across the sky until it all became illusionary. "This is quite the trick," Su Zimo commented with interest. The sky above displayed scenes as if they were right in front of them. In reality, Su Zimo knew the sights were actually tens of thousands of miles away. They were just projections from within the ruins. The real marvel was that Mu Chang'e had opened a space gate from within the 9 Heavens sect. A gate that connected to the ancient ruins, linking 2 places tens of thousands of miles apart. One end of the gate was in the 9 Heavens sect, the other within the ruins. "Everyone proceed," Mu Chang'e said with a smile. Su Zimo followed the 100 or so others, stepping into the space gate. Once everyone entered, Mu Chang'e waved his hand again. The space gate closed, and the sky's projection stabilized. It now displayed a full map of the ancient ruins. "This is the projection of the ruins. Whatever they experience in there, we can see it all clearly from out here," Mu Chang'e explained. "Who do you think will enter the main clan this time?" The Divine Heaven Mountain Lord Changqing asked with a smile. The others sat on prepared seats nearby. Jade Heaven Mountain Lord Wang Yuntian chuckled and said, "The heirs of each branch have the best chances. Whether a dark horse appears, we'll see. I think Grand Heaven Mountain has it rough this time," Their imperial son is the weakest one. Scenery Heaven Mountain Lord Chi-Hai said with a laugh. Let's not jump to conclusions before results come in, Lin Beixing said calmly. Otherwise, you'll just slap your own face later. Sounds like Mountain Lord Lin is very confident, Chi-Hai replied, still smiling. Do elders Mu and Qin have any favorites? Wang Yuntian asked the two main clan elders. We only care about the results, not the rest, Muchanga said leisurely while watching the projection. Grand Heaven Mountain has underperformed for several generations, Elder Qin added blandly. Lin Beixing's face darkened, but he didn't dare refute. Only he knew that Qin Hanxing had a bias against the Grand Heaven branch. Thousands of years ago, when the Nine Heavens sage passed away, the Nine Heavens technique was split into 9 volumes, each given to a branch. Many years ago, Qin Hanxing had visited the sect, hoping to borrow the Grand Heaven volume. But the branch's core techniques weren't something others could casually access. So Lin Jumi had refused him outright. No one had expected that Qin Hanxing would now be the elder sent from the main sect. As the crowd chatted, they continued watching the projection in the sky. After entering the space gate, Su Zimo found his vision engulfed in darkness. A spatial force enveloped him, causing his body to feel weightless as he shifted between dimensions. From one realm to another. After about 10 minutes, Su Zimo felt the spatial force weakening. Suddenly, he lost control and began to fall. He quickly stabilized himself and looked around. He was on a vast plain with only a few scattered trees nearby. No sign of life around. Before he could fully take in the scene, a bolt of lightning shot toward him. He dodged it instantly. The bolt struck the ground and blasted out a large crater. Then it shot toward him again, faster this time. Su Zimo reached out and caught it in his hands. Looking closely, he realized it wasn't lightning, it was a silver snake. The snake struggled, its body crackling with electricity. Su Zimo casually crushed it, then looked around again. There was some kind of force in the ruins that prevented flying. Su Zimo could resist it if he wanted. After all, his godly monarch realm strength was more than enough to overpower the rules here. From the hilltop, he scanned the plains, vast and seemingly endless. In the distance, there was a forest. Giant trees stood tall across the land. According to the event rules, they had to find 9 Heavens tokens to enter the main clan. Su Zimo didn't care about the tokens, he had his own people to deal with first. He walked across the plains. Though he appeared to move slowly, each step crossed a huge distance. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the forest. The forest looked ancient, each tree thick enough for several people to encircle with their arms. Branches and leaves intertwined above. There was no sun in the ruins, yet the forest was still bright. At the entrance stood a stone tablet. It looked recently erected. On it were 4 characters. Demon Mist Forest. Su Zimo guessed it was a marker placed by the main clan. He closed his eyes slightly, scanning the forest with his divine sense. As the range of his sense grew, the forest's immense size surprised him. It felt endless, and even his divine sense became entangled within it. Without further thought, Su Zimo stepped into the forest. The moment he entered, something felt off. His vision, once clear from outside the forest, was now obscured by thick mist,